Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
great. Thank you. So hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Keita Broadwater. I'm a partner at Hawani Data. We're a consultancy that specializes in data sourcing, digitization, advanced analytics, and AI implementation. Over the years, I've had the privilege of leading and executing machine learning and AI projects across a wide range of industries, from small startups to Fortune 500 companies. And a common challenge I've seen in these engagements is the dependency on quality data. Without high quality data, even the most advanced AI models cannot perform effectively. So the theme of this talk is the importance of data in AI and how we can participate in this AI revolution. So today, especially for generative AI, the focus is often on models like OpenAI's ChatGPT or NVIDIA's GPU processors and other hardware accelerators. But a critical component that often gets overshadowed is data. Quality data is the lifeblood of any successful AI application. And with Africa, with its 54 countries and over 2,000 languages, there's a unique opportunity today to establish pioneering AI applications. So if you're a youth in AI, you want to make a significant impact for the future, I would begin with data. So we all need to start creating great data sets that will feed the AI applications of tomorrow. So this is our goal should be to ensure that the AI used in Africa is homegrown, so not hand-me-downs from Silicon Valley, but built locally to address local challenges and especially owned locally. So let's talk about why this matters. So local ownership of data is crucial for economic development. We want the next and the current companies that are in industries like healthcare, agriculture, education, and public safety to benefit from their own data and owned AI models. So locally developed AI solutions can better address regional challenges, preserve cultural heritage, and ensure that economic benefits remain within the continent. So when we build and control our own AI systems, we tailor them to meet our unique needs and contexts. And this is going to be empowering. So when we control our own data, when we generate our own data and use it to train our models, this is going to ensure that we can reduce the bias that are inherent in the mainstream models of today. So to make this more concrete, I want to talk about some key applications of AI today and what are the data needs from a local point of view. So the first is AI agents. So AI agents, and these include applications like ChatGPT. These are applications that do a variety of tasks and have to have a variety of understanding about the world. And so the data that's needed today locally for local languages and local dialects are audio. So phrases spoken in local dialects, Q&A in local dialects, the same with text, documents, phrases, Q&A in local dialects, and images that are labeled, culturally significant images that are labeled. So when we do these in local dialects, we allow very accurate and very good applications that can speak to us in a personal way, and not have the quirks sometimes that happen when we use agents like ChatGPT in local languages. Telemedicine is another application where a lot of local data is needed, and there's that this type of data should be collected with an ethical point of view. So that includes sensor data and not anonymized sensor data like heart rate, blood pressure, glucose levels, and also text and voice data. But text and voice data that addresses the special language of medicine and talking about symptoms and talking about conditions and diseases. Lastly, speech and text translation. So I mentioned earlier that there are 2,000 languages, more than 2,000 languages across Africa. So special data sets are needed to bridge the gap between these languages. So there has been a lot of work in these areas, but there's still a lot more to be done. And there are still opportunities for people who want to help build these data sets. So how can we get started and make an impact? If you're just beginning with data, you don't have to be a programmer to get started. The key thing is to recognize a problem and to see if there is data that addresses that problem in your local dialect or your local languages or in your regional culture. And start to make a plan to build that data and collect it for that application. And one way to get started is to participate in an organization that does this already. So across Africa, there are a lot of great organizations that are building data sets and using those data sets to build applications like translators, named entity recognition models, and other things. And so on this slide, I mentioned 3 of them. One is Masaka. They use a variety of African languages to create named entity recognition data sets. So named entity recognition is a type of model that can take text and identify particular objects in the text. So if I talk about cars and trucks in a text, like Amy was driving a car in Chicago, a named entity recognition model will be able to pull out Amy and recognize that this is a name, car and recognize that this is an object, in Chicago and recognize that this is a town. So Masaka has developed some models and has data sets to be able to train models like this. Ghana NLP is a very pioneering organization that is developing data sets and applications, starting with Ghana languages like Twi. And Land Africa is an organization that aggregates a lot of the efforts across Africa. And all of these organizations, they welcome volunteers. So one way to get started, understand the problem, is to volunteer. But even these organizations with the wide range that they cover, there are still significant gaps in the data that's needed for AI applications. Excuse me. Hello? Okay, I was just asked to share my video. Okay. So broadly, how can you get started with collecting data? First, as I said, identify a problem and figure out if data exists already for that problem. And then collect data systematically for this. And data collection doesn't have to happen tomorrow. Actually, I think it's more effective to do it over time. So if you spend an hour a day collecting examples in a data set, maybe you collect 10 examples and label it, do the processing. In a year, you have more than 300 examples. If you got 10 friends to help you, you'd have 30,000 examples for a data set. And that's enough to start training models and have them understand some local context and local dialects. You have to store these data sets and you have to understand how to license them. How do you, meaning how do you share them? And so some great organizations to start how to do this will be data.world, Kaggle.com, and Hugging Face. These are all organizations that help you to store data and help you to understand how to license that data. And so in conclusion, I would say, let's lead the way. We have an opportunity today to create high quality, locally relevant data sets, and ensure that the AI technology and applications of tomorrow are built to address the unique needs of our African communities. So thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing some of the amazing innovations that are going to come out of this group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Keita, for the wonderful presentation. So if you have any question, kindly share in the chat feed or the Q&A section so that doctor can answer. Yeah. All right. So Joy has joined us. I would like to pass over the mic to Joy to administer this session.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you everyone as well for being here. Please, as said previously, if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat box. Please, if you have any questions, drop it in the chat box. Thank you so much, Dr. Broadwater, for this wonderful session. I'm sure we've learned a lot. We have some questions from the chat. So is it okay if I read the questions out?
Sure.
All right. Chamba is asking, so does that mean you need a strong database to do all this?
By strong database, do you mean like a strong system to store the data? I would say yes to that, but storage has advanced so much that it's quite easy to find a database or a storage system to store any type of data that you need quite cheaply these days. But yeah, a strong database is needed to perform this type of data collection.
All right, thank you so much. I'll be in the lookout in the chat box for your questions, please. If you have any questions, please drop it in the chat box. And an earlier question was asked, and okay, just a minute. Okay, the question is, does Hewani Data accept interns, like for internships?
Right now we don't have interns, but I mean that could change in the future. We're always getting new projects. Let me put my email address in the chat, and feel free to contact me. But that said, I know other organizations that need interns for machine learning and other types of projects, so I can always pass on people's information.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Broadwater. The email is in the chat box, so feel free to reach out. Okay, I have further questions. It says, please, which data collection tools is best to start with? Please, which data collection tools is best to start with? Sorry.
Oh, no problem. I would say that depends on where you're starting from. If you're starting from zero, then it may be best to volunteer with one of the organizations that I pointed out before in Africa, because people can handhold you and guide you on their needs for data collection and data curation. If you have a little programming knowledge, then going to organizations like data.world can help you get started and understand how to license data, how to curate it, how to test it for quality and other things. So it really depends on where you're starting from.
All right, thank you so much. I have another question. So what about any data loss? How do you go about it?
Could the person elaborate on what they mean by data loss? So
Alright.
my immediate interpretation is that, when you have data systems, especially data at scale, data loss becomes a concern. But the way people usually address that is by doing things called replication and sharding. It basically means you create redundant copies of your data set. So that if one database goes down, then you still have others you can rely on, or that you can backtrack and recover data, if that's what the questioner meant by their question.
Alright. Okay, please, we have a Q&A session. Please, you can send in your questions there in the Q&A session. Okay, I have a question here. How can I use AI to model quantitative research?
It depends on the research, and it depends on the specific task that you want AI to do.
Please, should I go over the question once again?
Could you repeat that? Sorry.
All right, I was asking if I should go over the question again.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
All right. So the question was, how can I use AI to model quantitative research?
So quantitative research, so that's a very broad statement. So general advice is understand what you want to get out of using AI. A lot of times people want to use machine learning or AI, and one of the first roles I have as a consultant for machine learning is to make sure that they're not using it as overkill. Sometimes people want AI, but really a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet will do. You don't really need AI for everything. So first, I would make sure that you actually need AI for your qualitative application. Then really get specific about the task. What task do you want to use machine learning or AI to perform with your qualitative research? And from there, you can develop a plan, or you can do, I think there's so much research across the board in machine learning and AI, you could probably go and search archive, find some papers, or even search blogs where people are doing similar work. If you have some further questions, feel free to reach out to me by my email. I can give you some more guidance.
All right. Thank you so much. So as seen in the chats, we have a lot of bootcamps coming up, so be sure to also watch the space for more opportunities. So I have a question here as well. Do you need to back up your database as a fallback in case of data loss?
Yes, you should do that. Like for myself, for example, for my critical applications, my critical code, I always have like a hardware backup in case maybe my storage system goes down, or maybe someone steals my laptop. So I always have to make sure I have backups of critical data, critical code. So that's a good practice.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor. Please, there's a Q&A session, so you can direct your questions there to have them answered. All right. Okay. Someone said, and I quote, I am entirely new in this field of AI, but I just know the very basics of it. How do I get started to kickstart a career in AI? And what are some job opportunities that come along with it? Because I see everywhere people saying that AI is the future.
So in general, so there is a lot of hype around AI. Some of it's justified, some of it's not. If you want to get started in AI, it really depends on what kind of career you want. So if you mean developing AI systems, having a background in computer science or programming is essential, because a lot of applications are done in Python or C++. And a great way to get started is by joining open source projects. There are so many machine learning and AI open source projects that invite anyone to come in and contribute. And usually what you're contributing is code. So there may be a specific need in the code base. And so you start by contributing to this code and updating their GitHub repository. So that's a great way to get started. Another common way is to create your own machine learning or AI projects and publish them publicly and show people what you've done. There's so many data sets, open data sets available, and so many models that are available. If you can find a unique application and showcase that, that's another great way to get started and get the attention of employers.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor, for this session and also having our questions answered.
Sure thing.
So considering the time, we would move over to our next keynote speaker for today. And our next speaker is Nadine Matthews-Blair, the Chief Executive Officer of Crescent Advisory Group Limited. And we'll be speaking to us on leading the digital revolution, the role of mentorship in shaping future AI leaders. Okay, so I'm introducing Nadine Matthews-Blair. Nadine Matthews-Blair is the founder and CEO of Crescent Advisory Group, which provides consulting, training, and executive coaching services to help business leaders bridge the gap between strategies and tangible results. With over 20 years of experience in strategy, digital development, with over 20 years of experience in strategy, digital transformation, advanced analytics and AI, marketing, communications, and business development at leading organizations like the National Commercial Bank, Jamaica Limited, McKinsey and Companies, and JP Morgan Chase. Nadine believes digital transformation powered by artificial intelligence presents an accessible and scalable path for all enterprises to level up their competitiveness. Recognized as LinkedIn top voice for AI and digital strategy, one of CIO View's 10 most influential Black corporate women to watch in 2023, among the top 25 most innovative bankers in Latin America by FinTech Americas in 2017, and a World Economic Forum Young Global Leader in 2017, Nadine has a proven track record of catalyzing impact by setting bold aspirations, leveraging digital and AI technologies, putting people at the center of change, and sharing powerful narratives to inspire action. Nice to have you here, Nadine Matthews-Blair. You can have the floor now if you're ready.
Thank you so much, Joy, and happy Saturday, everyone. Really excited to be here. Joy, if you can just allow me to share screen. I am really excited to be here. I am zooming in from Kingston, Jamaica today. So you heard in the introduction that someone would be here from Jamaica, and that is me. I'm just gonna share my screen. So I won't go over who I am after Joy's introduction, save and except to say that I wear many hats. I'm multi-passionate, multi-hyphenate, and you don't have to limit yourself to any one thing. Although I'm in Kingston, Jamaica, I have had the privilege to visit Ghana and Kenya, and I'm excited today because I am an AI enthusiast. I do it, it's a big part of my work, but I'm also very passionate about the work of helping and being a part of underrepresented populations, getting involved in AI and leveraging it for productivity, improving our personal productivity, our business productivity, and innovation but also to ensure that we are part of improving the representation in the data sets, as was just discussed, and that we help to reduce the bias that we have in generative AI. So we have such a big showing today, and that's really exciting and encouraging. So my talk today is about the role of mentorship in shaping future AI leaders. And this is not just going to be a talk, it's going to be interactive. So I'm going to be asking you to drop your comments in the chat and do a couple of quick polls and so forth. And I hope you are okay with that. By the way, I am looking forward to an invitation to come back to Ghana and Kenya. And I am personally extending my invitation to you to come to Jamaica. All right, so where I'll start is that I don't think it's lost on anyone here that mentorship is important, and mentorship has already played a role in all of our lives, starting from day one. And I hope I'm sharing sound. Let me just go off and try again to make sure that I'm sharing sound as well. I wasn't sharing sound, so I'm glad I'm doing that now. So what do we have here? This is my baby daughter taking her first steps. I'm not sure if you're able to hear, but her grandma's in the background saying, "Come to grandma."
Come.
I think they were trying to bribe her with food. So I share that because that is one of the first instances that many of us have with mentorship, because mentorship for me is guidance and support backed by experience and care. And what you're seeing there is guidance and support. Obviously, we all walk and as adults, and we care about the person that we're encouraging to walk. But at the end of the day, it's the individual that has to do the walking and has to take action. Grandma and mommy or daddy actually can't do that walking for you. We're going to come back to that later in the presentation. So this is my first question for you. Drop it in the chat, please. Why is mentorship even important? Let me see some of your thoughts. Why is mentorship important? Yeah, thank you, Gloria. To avoid mistakes that your mentors made, direction, guidance, to learn from mistakes. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of guidance in the keep us on the right path, give us a head start. That all positive influence, confidence building. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And so here's the thing about mentorship. A lot of the times the answers are in us already. And so we just need that person to help to bring us out. So why is mentorship important? You've said a lot of these in the chat. It helps to accelerate learning and development, because to the extent that someone has those skills, they have that experience, they can help you avoid mistakes, identify gaps in your learning that you have, and all of that helps to accelerate learning and development. There is also emotional support and encouragement. You can do it, to grandma, building confidence. all of that is also very important in the mentorship relationship. There's a component about self-awareness. I don't think I heard this, but you may have thoughts about yourself, but someone who also knows you can help you to bring self-awareness to things like fears that you may have that you're not expressing, but because they're seeing how you behave, they can help you to unlock new levels of self-awareness and consciousness. There's also the part about creating accountability. So many of us might set goals, but we keep them a secret. So as long as we keep those goals a secret, like no one is going to, keep us accountable. If we don't do it, we'll be fine. But if you really have a goal, you don't want to give up on it. So you want to share those goals. And because you told people, now you have to really go after it. And then the last thing I love about mentorship is that there's an opportunity to challenge you. So mentors will often say, no, I think you can do more, or you should do more. And again, if you're just in your head, that challenge may not occur. So I'm going to do a quick poll. And skew again, I'll drop the link in the chat, but what are the characteristics of a good mentor? So scan the QR code, but I'll also drop the link in the chat. Let me find that link. What are the characteristics of a good mentor? This is a link, and then I'm going to put up back the QR code. Is everybody seeing? So click on the link or the QR code, please. Let me see if I'm getting responses so far. All right, I'm going to share the link again. Oh, okay. I didn't share it with everyone. My apologies. I only shared it with the panelists. There's the link. All right, we're seeing the comments coming in. And I'm going to share my screen so you can see what we're all saying about mentorship so far. So we're seeing supportive. Are you seeing the screen? Experienced, willing to teach, patient is big up there. I'll just give us a couple more seconds to drop our thoughts about what makes a good mentor. We only have 19 responses. Hopefully we can get up to, a little bit more than 25. All right, there we go. There we go. Awesome. So supportive, patient, experienced, willing to teach seem to be the top ones. Yes. All right. I'm going to let us get to 30, but I think those are the themes. So remember that, because what I'm going to do now, because this is an AI conference, see what ChatGPT has to say about this. All right, so let's jump over to ChatGPT and see what it says. And I have to make sure that I ask the very same question. So please shout out and confirm that you're seeing my screen. Joy, are you seeing my screen? Are you seeing my screen, everyone?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. All right. So it says a good mentor has experience. I think we saw that, empathy and understanding, active listening, positive attitude, patience and flexibility, integrity. So pretty good, right? We didn't see the word supportive come out as strongly. And that's why it's important for, again, the whole conversation about representation. I'm going to do another quick exercise, and I'm going to go back and see what your top words were again: supportive, patient, experienced, willingness to teach. And I'm gonna ask Dolly to create an image of a mentor that is supportive, experienced, and willing to teach. Still seeing my screen, or just back to me?
We can't see your screen.
Okay, so this is what it comes back to when I put in that request. And immediately we know why we had to have the first speaker talk about data sets and representation, because not sure if this embodies the mentor that we are seeking. Naturally, most of this that will be predominantly white male, and there is such a big opportunity to improve representation in terms of data sets in generative AI. And I'm excited because I'm expecting everyone on this call to play a role in that. So I'm going to jump back to the presentation. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on what you think makes a good mentor. We consulted GPT on that as well. And so now I'm going to shift gears and talk a little bit about finding a good mentor from my experience, because this can often be a challenge when we get to the professional stage. So the first tip I have for us is to, and some of these are not necessarily intuitive, but talk to family and friends. They care about you, they love you, they may not understand anything about this AI thing, but it's also an opportunity. So I'll share from my personal experience. And by the way, my parents told me they were joining. I don't know if they're actually on, but they're in New York and they're learning about AI, but they're not AI experts. But of course, because they support me, they said, we're gonna join and listen to your talk. When I was going back to business school, I did my MBA at Wharton. No one in my family had ever gotten an MBA. And everyone thought that was crazy because I was leaving my good corporate job at JP Morgan Chase at the time to go back to business school. How on earth was I going to fund that? So I started by talking to my family and friends. And yes, some people thought I was crazy, but when they saw that I was serious, you know what happened? They started to give advice and talk to persons in their network. And then persons started to introduce me to different people and programs that could help me. And it was through this sharing that I found a program called the Management Leadership for Tomorrow program, which played a very important role in me being able to, as a first generation immigrant in the US at the time, successfully apply to Wharton Business School and actually get a full scholarship as well. And I was able to connect with mentors through that process because I started by sharing with family and friends and, tell a friend. Eventually, the universe conspires to put you in touch with persons that can help you. The second recommendation I have would be leverage your peers. And I'm going to share this video from Issa Rae. She is an amazing creator. She's from the continent as well. And let me just make sure again that I am sharing sound, but she talks about this very important concept that was very instrumental early in her career around networking across. So let me get to that.
We have a tendency to try to, like, when we network up, and it really is about networking across, like who's next to you, who's struggling, who's in the trenches with you, who's just as hungry as you are. And those are the people that you need to build with. It's not about like finding, hitting up, like calling Tyler Perry, like, how can I work with you? Calling Ava to be like, how can I be on? It's about calling your college mate. It's about calling your coworker and saying, hey, you trying to do this? I'm trying to do this project. And literally every project that I've done, every friend of mine has been in some way, shape, or form because I needed them, because they were just down. They didn't, they're not even part of the industry in many cases, just to help me make it work. And I would do the same for them in a heartbeat. In creating the first episode of ABG, of Awkward Black Girl, like, I had to pull so many resources together, and I had to hit up, a couple of random people just to try to put this story together. And then even in the brokenness of not having an editor and editing it myself, trying to tell the story because I couldn't afford to get this shot that I wanted or go to this location that I wanted, and piecing that together, there's so much creativity in brokenness. Like, brokenness will have you making it work.
All right, so I love that story because now she is working with Tyler Perry and Ava, but that's not how it started, because she leveraged her network to get started. So leveraging your network, other persons that are interested in AI, sharing your knowledge, working on something together, like pulling the data set that was recommended in the prior session. These are some things that you can do to leverage your peers as
We have a tendency to try to, like,
the third thing that I would say is approach busy experts with care. The number of AI experts in the space is very limited. And so how you approach those experts has to be very strategic and with care. The first part of that is thinking win-win. Many times we approach mentors and it's all about what they can do for us because of their profile. But with experts, it's important to think about what you can offer them as value in return. And even though you're young, you can offer value. I have reverse mentored many of my mentors. I have taught them how to use TikTok. I have helped them to figure out what school to send their child to. I have volunteered as they were putting together their book. There are many things that you can do to help them, and then in turn, you download their knowledge. The third thing I would say is you have to get creative because they're super busy. One, they probably already have mentees. They're traveling a lot. They have families. Their schedules are booked. One of the questions I get all the time is, hey, can I have coffee? And a young person thinks that is a very simple ask, but it's very challenging. Coffee is about an hour. Then you have to travel to and from. So that could easily be an hour and a half to 2 hours out of your busy day. And it's not that experts do not want to support. They already have many mentors, they have work, they have families. And so what are some of the things you can do? You can ask for a 15-minute virtual session, but I encourage you to build the relationship first. So I love this example that Nicole Lynn, who is an American football agent, gives in her book. She would call up the athletes and call their offices and be like, hey, can I have a meeting? And of course, the answer would be no. So she started showing up to the games, and as they're walking out, just grabbing 5 minutes of their time. And if her pitch was good enough, then they would say, all right, come talk to me. All of these experts, they're on LinkedIn, they're attending conferences, follow them on LinkedIn, comment on their posts, be engaged with them, show up at the conferences, listen to what they have to say, grab a 5 minutes with them, get their attention, and use that as a platform to start building the relationship. And finally, be patient. A real mentor-mentee relationship should not be transactional. Oh, like, I'm just going to pick your brain and that's it. It's going to be most powerful if you leverage it for a lifetime. And so be patient, continue to think win-win. You see an article that they might like, you see that they were featured or won something, send them a congratulations. That's so awesome, so that you can stay in touch. Don't take it personally if they don't have a lot of time. Think win-win, think the long game, and eventually you will break through. And the final suggestion I will make is leverage virtual mentorship. You are all, for the most part, much younger than me. And I am so excited about the number of resources that exist today. I listen to lots of experts on YouTube and even TikTok. I read their books, I listen to audiobooks, I attend conferences, I use, I pick ChatGPT's brain. There are lots of opportunities to get guidance and advice and things to try. You're not going to get the support and the love and the care per se from these, but in terms of being on top of what's going on, finding out about opportunities, you have a lot available to you via virtual and often very free options. So finally, after you do all of those things, you talk to your family and friends, you start network, your peers, experts and all of that. At the end of the day, just like my daughter Leanne had to take the step, you have to take the step to do these things, to be intentional about your mentorship journey and being a mentor in return. So the action today is I want each of us to think about family and friends you can speak to, peers that you can collaborate with, 2 to 3 experts that you want to approach. And again, we're not going to ask for a 1-hour coffee. We're going to think about how we can think win-win, support them, be respectful of their time, and build a relationship over time. And then think about the resources that you can leverage. You're already doing a great job by showing up to the Youth in AI Summit today on your Saturday. Yes, great thing that you're doing for yourself. But finally, we have to take a step. Mentoring is active, and that goes both ways. And so it means that you have to do things to identify and to activate the mentorship relationships that you are seeking. So in conclusion, in this age of AI, that's really exciting. Continuous learning is essential. Mentorship is a big part of that. And hopefully I have given you some tools today that you can think about approaching and building relationships with your AI mentor so you can get the support, back to your definition, the experience and the teaching that you need to take your careers to the next level. Just gonna share a couple quick slides. I do have a free AI resource guide, so you can scan this QR code and take advantage of that. I can also be found very easily on LinkedIn, and I look forward to building a relationship with all of you that are on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session, Nadine. Thank you so much. Please, I'll be taking questions now. And we have a Q&A chat for questions. So I'll be on the lookout there. You can ask your questions and we can have Madam Nadine answer them. Thank you.
Santi, please let me know which link. Is it the link to the resource guide? I assume it is, so I'm going to drop that in the chat. Happy to drop that in the chat. Let me get that for you now.
All right, I think I have a question. Can I go ahead and read it, Madam Nadine?
Absolutely.
All right, so I quote, how can I effectively network and maintain close relationships with people I see as mentors? Sometimes it is difficult to maintain and retain a close relationship with mentors. As much as my career in AI is concerned, I often feel that I really need someone who can mentor me on matters of leadership. I love.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. If these are mentors that you have already, there are simple things that you can do. So for all of my mentors, I maintain their birthdays. I send them messages on their birthdays. I send them messages over the holidays. I send them messages on Father's Day and Mother's Day. And what that always does is it shows that I care about them as people, which I do, but it often opens up a conversation like, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? Let's connect. Yes. And those holidays come up throughout the year. So these are natural touch points. The second thing that I do is if I see something on them in the paper or I hear about something that they've been doing, I send a congratulations. I offer to help if it's something that I can help with. I also write newsletters. So when I think there's a topic that may be of interest, I always share it with them as well. So I find ways to naturally nurture the relationship without just saying, hi, can we meet up? Because that becomes very transactional. So because of that, when I do need to meet up because it's an urgent situation, there is a lot more willingness to say, all right, no problem, because they know that it is, it's not something that I ask for all the time. I also show flexibility. We don't always have to meet in person. We can catch up on phone. We can jump on a quick 15 or 30-minute Zoom chat. Again, leading with respecting their time, thinking win-win and offering value in return.
All right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Nadine.
I see a question about being introverted, and I love that question because on Myers-Briggs, I am an introvert. I am an ISTJ, and it does take a little bit more work for us introverts, but I also find that our advantage is that our interactions are a lot more meaningful and not superficial, because introverts tend to think through things on a much deeper level, and you have to challenge yourself. So instead of trying to network with 10 people, you can identify just 2 people, or maybe even 1 person that you want to start with, that you feel that you trust and can build trust with. Build the muscle by developing the relationship with those 1 to 2 persons, and then over time it will start to broaden, because what will happen is many of my mentors will say, oh, you should meet this person because I noticed that you're doing this now. And so some of those things will naturally start to happen. But as an introvert, I would say reduce the list that you're targeting so you're not so overwhelmed, but also push yourself to take the step. Remember back to the walking example, you have to take the step. George, should I continue? I'm seeing one that says, how do you handle feedback or criticism from your mentor? I consider feedback, even if it is criticism, a gift. I may not agree with it. As I've matured, I've realized that if you don't like it, it's okay to cry when you get home. Yes. But it's important to then reflect on it and say, what can I learn from this? Because if we're honest with ourselves, every piece of feedback carries some nugget of truth. There's either truth in what is happening, or there's a perception issue. And either way, it's better than that you know it, right? So let's say your mentor gives you feedback and they're like, you're very standoffish, very harsh thing, yeah? You don't agree with it. And so one thing you can realize, oh yeah, I can see how I may come off as standoffish. What are some of the things I can do on this? The second thing you can do is, I'm not standoffish, but my mentor has this perception. Where is it coming from? And that is an opportunity to talk it through with the mentor to understand more, because it's only in understanding you can figure out, how can I change a perception? So feedback and criticism is always a gift. It's okay to feel a way about it. It's okay to cry about it and let it out. But after that, you must dig into it to find out, is there an opportunity for me to get better? Or is there a perception thing that I need to manage? Or is it so insignificant that I'm just going to put it in the parking lot and I'm not going to take any action? My time is up. Thank you. You've been an amazing audience. Remember my invitation to come to Jamaica and listen. Don't hesitate to send me an invitation for Ghana and Kenya. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Madam Nadine. As said in the comment section, we love you. Thank you so much for such a lovely presentation. So we'll be proceeding to a panel session next up. And this panel session is about understanding the AI landscape and future career opportunities. And our moderator for this session would be Adiza Al Hassan, which is a Google Women Tech Makers Ambassador and Vice President of Youth in AI. And before we proceed right into it, please don't forget to follow us on our social media handles so that you can keep getting prompts, announcements, and also meetings like this for more collaboration and possibly mentorship as well. So I would hand over to our moderator, Ms. Adiza Al-Hassan, to introduce her panel, and we'll take it from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Joy. So far, I've been jotting things down since Nadine was speaking. It was a wonderful session. Thank you so much. My name is Adiza Al-Hassan, and I would be moderating this panel session for today. So we are talking about understanding the AI landscape and future career opportunities. So usually we hear about AI, what is it coming to do? What is it in for us? What are the opportunities we can leverage on to also increase our potential? So I would give our panelists the opportunity to introduce themselves. We would start with Ms. Khadija Idrisu.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so my name is, thank you first of all for inviting me to this panel discussion. I really enjoyed the past keynote sessions, and I'm just really happy to be here to share my thoughts. So my name is Khadija Idrisu. I'm currently a PhD researcher at the Dublin City University. I'm also a co-organizer at the Women in Machine Learning and Data Science. So, yeah, I think in brief, that is it about me.
Thank you so much. So our next panelist on the list is Kwame Edumenu. If you can unmute and give us a brief information about you.
Okay, hi everyone. I hope you can hear and see me. Okay, so my name is Kwame Edumenu, and I currently work at MTN Ghana as the manager for analytics and reporting. So basically, I'm responsible for everything related to data science, analytics, reporting, data visualization, engineering. And as MTN is trying to move from a telecom company into a technology company, that also involves applying some of the new and emerging technologies like artificial intelligence. So yeah, so that's what I do now. I used to work at Vodafone, currently Telecel, and I used to handle similar, I used to work, in a similar field. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
Thank you so much. The next person in line is Grace Ngari. If you could have your introduction.
So, hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so hi everyone. Hope you're all doing well. So my name is Grace Ngari, joining from Nairobi, Kenya. I'm happy for the opportunity, and I'm grateful for Adiza yet giving me the opportunity. Yeah, I'm a Zindi ambassador and also a WIDS, which is Women in Data Science. And also I'm a student doing my undergraduate in data science. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the last on the list, Charity Akwabe, if you could have your introduction.
Hi, hello, good evening. It's past 4, so good evening. My name is Charity Akwabe. I'm trying to come on video, so kindly pardon me on that. I think this program is very relevant and it's good to have me and everybody here. My name is Charity Akwabe. I'm a digital business consultant. I've been doing this for the past over 8 years, close to a decade, but more concentrated around the past 6 years. I've helped businesses in different industries integrate or use technology in their strategy. So in our first speaker session, he did say that some businesses don't need AI, but they just want to use it because it's actually a buzz. It's a big issue in businesses, and consultants like us make sure that you really need it and then you have to use it. I'm also the convener, a community leader for a community called Black Tech Lead. And we help our members not just to be very tech savvy, but also to lead personally in their industry. So if it's something you're really interested in, you can talk to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful brief introduction. So we'll jump right into the panel questions. So far, our speakers have been talking about AI. So what we want to know from our esteemed panelists, and we'll start with Khadija. What are some of the most exciting real-world applications of AI you are currently working on? Since you are a PhD student, I would want to know what exactly you're working on.
Thank you very much. And spoiler alert, most people here might not really know what I'm working on. So I'll try to keep it to the basics as much as possible. But in the nutshell, I work in computer vision, just a different kind of computer vision, which is events-based vision. So the way events-based vision works is that instead of the normal cameras that we use, which when you take a picture, it gives you like an image or a frame, events-based cameras do not do that. They just like sense if there is motion in the scene, and then they tell you when the motion occurred, the exact timing, and the exact location at which the motion occurred. So now people might ask, why are we interested in this and not in the usual RGB cameras that you can just see yourself in? And trust me, like when I first heard about this, I was so excited to have a camera, only to get to know that this is not going to give me like images of me. But then looking at the potential of it, with events-based vision, since we are not capturing like the images, but then we are just capturing the motion, it means that at every step along the way, we still have information. Like, let's consider something that is moving very fast. When you use an RGB camera to record it, you can break this down, like when this is a video, you can break this down into frames, right? So now you're trying to track the position of one thing in an RGB camera. When you break it down into frames, there is points in time when you are not able to recover the position of the item that you are tracking. But in event-based vision, since there is always motion, there's always going to be information. And this means that we can use event-based vision for like very precise and accurate tracking, which makes it really interesting to use, especially for people in computer vision. So now what I try to do with this is to monitor eye movement. Eye movements can be very fast. Let's say a blink can be like super fast. You might not even notice that someone blinks like in a few seconds. So we are trying to use this event cameras to detect this very fast eye movement, see what they can lead us to. And fortunately, I intern with Toby, a company that is known for its global solutions in eye tracking. So what we are trying to do now is to use event-based vision and just like improve the field of eye movements. And for me specifically, I work in saccade detection. So saccades are like super fast eye movements that happens, like they are very quick. And we are trying to use event cameras to predict when a saccade would occur, the number of times a saccade occurs, and how that applies to the real world. So now I try to make it as basic as possible, but let's see the real world applications of this. So if you are able to use event-based vision for eye movements like saccades, there is numerous applications of this in neuroscience especially. So this means that not only are we improving on the eye movement research that is already existing, we are also able to do diagnostics like ADHD, Parkinson's, and concussion. So I've worked in the past on brain vessel segmentation and brain MRI reconstruction. And now we are just trying to see, can we use events-based vision to sort of provide non-invasive like technologies to this diagnosis. So when we are using events cameras, then this means that we can easily diagnose exactly when someone started to have ADHD symptoms or like started to have like Parkinson's disease. And like, yeah, that is just one application of it in neuroscience. Also in the field of robotics, since events cameras just like have a very high latency and like high temporal resolutions, it means that robots can actually precisely like track things that are moving very fast and like not end up like sort of misleading some of these things. We can also apply events-based vision in AR and VR. And if you look at the research in events-based vision now, it's actually more focused on this than diagnostics, because when you've been in a VR headset before, like you might have wondered, oh, how did the program know that I was looking at this part and suddenly like looking at another part? So this means that with events-based vision, since they have a very high latency, beyond the normal hertz, they have like latency in about kilohertz, which means that the AR and the VR systems can react like very quickly and also like just make the experience more immersive and more real. We can also apply events-based vision in security, like in surveillance and monitoring. So if you are able to track the movements of people's eyes, then we can easily tell when there is a suspicious behavior that is about to occur. And now the most unlikely sort of application that really intrigues me is that we can also use event-based vision in sports. That is in performance analysis. After a game, since people are constantly moving on the field, it means that the event camera is going to show us exactly when someone moves to this position, the action they performed in that position, and like just that preciseness is going to be a very good alternative to RGB cameras when we are trying to analyze how the game went, what went wrong, where to improve. Like, it's just a lot, and I think I'll stop here. But yeah, this is events-based vision. It's still computer vision. We still use deep learning architectures. We still use object tracking. We just work with a different type of data, and it has so many applications. So yeah, that is it about my research area.
Wow, that's so great.
We'll be doing a lot of yeah, really fun stuff. Events-based version, right? So yeah, probably follow up with you more on how that goes. Generally, what I understand about computer vision has to do with the image analysis and facial detection and all of that, but really good to hear what you're doing there as well. And since I decided to choose the corporate world, let me speak briefly about what MTN. So before I talk about the challenges, I'll just speak about what we're trying to do strategically as a company. So, I mean, I think one of the previous speakers spoke about AI being a buzzword. But for those of us that have been in data science for a while, we know we've been doing machine learning for quite a long time, right? It's just generative AI that has made everybody wake up to, what the whole field is about. So even before joining MTN, there's a lot of work that I did with product recommendation, chain, model development, sentiment analysis. All of that falls under what? AI. And these are some of the things that we are doing at MTN. So generally, we want to try and improve the products and services that we deliver to customers. One of the products that we currently have is Just For You. So this is it's an ML-based model that it's a product recommendation model for those of us in the data science. Well, when we say product recommendation, we know what that is. So it sort of analyzes your spending habits and then recommends the next best offer to you, right? So this is something that has been in the market for a while. And what we're trying to do now is just make it more intelligent, make it more optimized for customers, just to improve the offers that we have. I think somebody's audio, yeah. So yeah, as a company, we are strategically trying to apply AI in several areas in our network as well, trying to optimize our network using AI so that we have self-healing networks that don't require our engineers to be always manually trying to optimize it. And when you consider all of that, I think there are quite a number of challenges that come up in trying to implement some of these use cases. The first that I'll try and address is demystifying AI, right? So even internally trying to help the company, everybody come on board on what AI is. People have different meanings and understandings of what AI is. And once you build a use case, you can't just present the use case to everybody assuming that they understand what you are doing, right? So you need to, first of all, let them understand what AI actually is. And as I said before, some of the that we've done before, they hear AI, they hear chat, that's all they know, which is not true. There is so much beyond generate and much beyond what that we can do. So that's one of the areas that we are trying to address with different groups. As part of our digital division, we have a department that works with some of the technology hubs in the country. So we're trying to help startups. One of the hubs that we visited recently, one of the things that we do with and these new, and I think that obviously a lot of us would probably think about is the qualities that we build. If you work in telecom, you understand that we generate like billions of rows of data, like events daily, and it requires a lot of effort and processing power to be able to, leverage all of that data to build models that bring value. And obviously, that will be one of the challenges that we sort of have to deal with. But I mean, that's something that we work through a lot. Just to, for example, if you talk about the Just For You offers that I spoke to you about, that requires going through several, records just to understand the customer and that his our data before you're able to offer the next, the next best offer to that particular customer. But yeah, it's something that is per se, but it's something that we obviously have to be data centers or just able to use these things that we do. There are quite a number of things that we probably have to deal with in terms of quantum computing. If you have to do some of these models, you need a lot of processing power. Where we have access to some of our longer periods. But as I mentioned, we freedom or liberty to be leveraging quantum computing resources. So yeah, these are some of the things that we deal with internally in working on some of these things. Other things also includes I'm sorry, we have to that we work locally with or with speak. So yeah, we need talented engineers, we need talented data engineers, right? We need talented data scientists to be able to deliver all of these, right? I mean, there's so much that we want to do. For example, you may be watching a football match and right there and then you get a real-time notification letting you know, hey, your data bandwidth, at this particular level, but this is the next best offer for you that will allow you to, let's say, keep watching the football match. That's a use case that's happening in real time. But we need, talented, data engineers to be able to build the right pipelines to make sure that the data is streaming as it should. And then we need talented data scientists and AI engineers to be able to build all those, ML models and use the right frameworks and all of that. So, I think these 5 things would be some of the challenges that we deal with. But as I mentioned, maybe our next AI engineer or our next ML engineer might be on this call. So who knows? So these are challenges, but as I always say, there are also opportunities. So as I've spoken to them, you could pick it up as a what, as an opportunity for you. So maybe in the next year or two, you want to be that data engineer that helps us solve our, data processing issues, or you want to be that ML engineer that helps us, scale up on our, AI initiatives. Yeah.
Wow, wow. I think he needs a round of applause in the session. So talking about startups, youth in AI is a startup. So really like to collaborate with MTN since there is a margin of importance with and we are happy to be part of it with you. So I think I really liked when he touched on there are a lot of things about AI, not only about ChatGPT, because I was working with a colleague of mine, Jason, and he was kind of working on reinforcement learning agents and developing novel algorithms for best paths finding and reasoning for these agents. So I think there are a lot of opportunities in AI, and I know our audience are listening. Question goes to Grace and Gary. So Grace is a student, and we want to know, she also does a bit of on as a typical day for a general overview of it, so that our fellow students can also know what to do in terms of if they want to follow such path.
Okay, thank you, Adiza. I'm having some issues on my network, so you guys will just forgive me, right? Thank you so much. So maybe to start off with your question, a typical day in a machine learning, as a machine learning engineer. Nice, that's a good question. Thank you for that. So for me, I think maybe I'll try to be a bit like was a machine learning engineer. The role that you hold in the company and also the project stage. Maybe to start off, you have to have a plan. You review and plan. Before making any decision, you maybe revisit the code from the training models. You explore the data visualization that is to be done. You clean the data. Remember, you cannot just analyze data that is not clean. So the next one, maybe you can have some discussion with your team. Typically, maybe to be precise, in the data space, if you're working as a team, let me try do my video maybe in a way. So you hold the meetings and discussions with your team, since if you're working as a team, definitely that would bring really good results. Working as a team, this means that you can brainstorm the solutions, you can collaborate with other engineers, other data scientists, the team. Maybe to add off, you can also have some experimentation and analysis. Maybe this may involve running some experiments, doing some algorithms, interpreting the data to understand its model performance. You can also do some documentation and communication. This involves writing the findings, writing the code reviews, preparing reports. Yeah. Another thing also is you can also stay in line with the current technologies. Remember, let me say in the field of AI, each and every day a new technology is coming up. So you have to be conversant with the technology. Maybe overall to say machine learning is broad. It's a blend of the coding, the experimentation part, the analysis, and continuous learning. Maybe that is all I have to say.
Grace, if you are talking, we can't hear you. Okay,
Really?
I think we can move on. Yeah, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. Okay, I think we can move on. Thank you so much, Grace, for showing us on a typical day what it looks like to be a machine learning engineer. So over to Charity. We know Charity is into digital marketing, and she's also a Black Tech lead, which is a very, very good place to be because we are Black and we are hoping to make an impact with AI and looking for ways to which we can solve Africa's problem using AI. So the question I have for you is, can you share some specific examples of how AI is kind of revolutionizing different industries like the healthcare, finance, manufacturing? Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Adiza. I'm a digital business consultant. So that's more like a bridge between technology consulting and then digital too. So it's just a little bit of digital marketing just forms a bit of like 10 to 20% of what I do on my day-to-day job. Basically what I do, I think I did explain that, was to what I normally do on a day-to-day is to look at a business, listen to their strategy, or probably even listen to their business problems. And then my work is that I more like a business analyst. So I go in, understand what the business needs, what technology needs, what data needs, whatever need in terms of tech. And then I come back, present, and then I go ahead with implementation, which we redo. So the type of role they call us technology consultant. I like to call that because I like to I think I like and from Khadija. The only very reason always want to learn. I always wanted about 6 years ago when I joined current consultant, co-founder. So they were looking to was it show you busy found to that people who always have questions. And if you already have, let's say, a busy schedule, or you hire new people, you actually have to train them, right? And so it takes a longer time. And as a data consultant, I was asked to help with this business. It was crazy. I've got to use a platform that we call, is it OmniChat? Yeah, I think OmniChat or ManyChat, one of it. We used it, and then I sat down. I knew that I could use 3 days to do this today, but at the time, I think I used like 2 to 3 weeks. I was building a whole chat box. So I presented them a lot of questions, what people, students can ask, what questions they can ask, what possible answers they have. And then I built a whole chat box for the virtual university. What it did was that it took away the stress or the pressure of wanting to respond to every single person. And this chat box was actually entered on different touch points on their social media, Facebook, Instagram. I think they had, no, there was no Twitter. It was the two on their websites, and then their other email system too as well. So I had to build it to customize to all these 3 things. And you can just imagine the stress I went through. That was 6 years ago. There was no buzz about the fact that there was AI going on at the time, right? But today, we all know that that was AI we were doing. So that's really a set to what keynote speakers and what Mr. If you are in areas or if you are in industries that we are in now, we have been using AI. I have gone ahead to use this so-called AI technologies in different business solutions. And today, at the time, I didn't call it AI. I didn't know it was AI, right? And so I just kept doing it because I knew that I was solving business challenges or business problems using technology at the time. But I guess today I should call myself AI experts, but no, that's not the problem here. So AI has really helped a lot. And as a digital business consultant, I think that my impact will be made when I'm able to give you real life examples of how, whether you're a business owner, you're a career person working in a company like MTN, a startup, a tech startup, wherever you are, I think that that's where my impact will be, because Khadija spoke a lot about health, sports, and these other amazing examples. And so to add up my knowledge to this, I think one of the best or the most important things AI has really helped, and me, I have seen the reality of it, is our customer relation. Recently, to bring it home, I was in an Uber and I sent twice transaction to the Uber driver. I didn't know, I was using the app. I clicked and it went twice. I said, oh my God, I've sent 2 times payments. I was trying to call MTN. What's going on? I didn't know what was going on. Apparently, when I went online, I can literally reverse a transaction. And you know what helped me? It was their star something. And then I heard the voice note and everything. At the time, they were not available, but their voice was able to help me. And that was a good customer service to me, because at the time, I was able to get the response. Imagine AI has not helped develop this chat box. Then it means that my money is gone. I'm stressed out. MTN is looking bad as a brand in my face, and a lot more things. But what this did 6 years ago for that virtual university person, and even to MTN, my experience yesterday, is because AI is there to give me the answers. So for me, that is one of the processes. If a business person or you are working in a startup, these are some of the things you should, think about. To give value to your workplace, ask yourself, how can I use AI or any AI software or tool to help the company to improve their CRM or their customer relationship process, right? Another way that you can also look at AI changing the face is the new ChatGPT and other, generative AI platforms. Recently, we used to have 4 editors. And as somebody who, of course, digital marketers who run campaigns for 6, 7-figure businesses, there are times that we have to write a lot. We prepare documents, we do a lot of, these write-ups and stuff. And these 4 editors were definitely not enough for the large campaigns that we run. Sometimes you have to beg them, please send the documents over, please, our deadline is this. Right before my face, a year after COVID, these guys were just let go. I sat there, I saw them let go. I don't know what happened. And today, I don't consider myself a writer, but I can literally write for these, right? And so that is one of the places that AI is taking, shape from. So if you are somebody who is a writer, I think your role or your industry, you have to really look at it and see how can you give so much value in your industry or in your role to help with market research and in-house data, right? Your email, right? So we go in, we leverage the data, and sometimes some of the platforms that we recommend will literally give you a visualization of all the, what's going on, let's say insights in the data to give you a visualization of it. And that's not only at Google Analytics. There are other platforms that give you a whole, analytics and stuff. So in the workplace, this is how AI is looking like right before my eyes. And so
identify which area of AI excites you the most. Like maybe you like working in computer vision, NLP or something else. Just like put a pin on that and know that this is where I want to move on. Secondly, I feel like, because I'm saying this because I've been there before, most times as AI researchers or AI engineers, especially when we are just getting started, we are not looking at the fact that does this problem really need AI to solve it? Or do we even need to solve this problem at all? We are just, maybe I learned something new in computer vision today and I'm like, what can I apply it to? Maybe I'll just use it to do this, but do we actually need it? So you just have to take a pause and ask yourself that question. And I think the best way to go about this is to read on what has been done before. You can read research papers, you can read news articles, you can follow trends from conferences like this. Then you can identify the gaps that exist within whatever field you are interested in. And that is when you can identify new opportunities to make an impact or actually just build something. So yeah, I think you should read on what people have done before and actually identify the gaps from that, rather than just like trying to create a solution to a problem which might not really even be a problem or might need AI to solve it. And also, I would like to emphasize that if you are someone that is looking into getting into the field, especially research, you should identify like the current research and see how it aligns with the interest that you have. So if it doesn't align with your interest, I think you're just going to start working on it. And at a point, like there's nothing that motivates you to keep going, even if it gets hard. So you have to start working with what you have. Like sometimes there's a problem with GPUs, with resources and all of that. Just like, don't really bother much about that. Start with what is available to you. You can go on Kaggle. Kaggle has GPUs, they have data sets. Start from there, and then you can start working. So in this way, even if you should find someone later on that is willing to support you with these resources, you already have something that you've done to show that like you are motivated and you are interested in what you are doing and you are passionate about it. So I think that is really interesting. So you can also participate in like online competitions and all of that. But one thing is that once you do all of these things, don't just do it and go away. Document your findings, share it in a blog post on LinkedIn, like at conferences and all of that. If you don't really tell people what you are working on, nobody's going to know what you are doing. And sometimes you might find that when you share these things, it's either someone is somewhere just looking for that solution you have proposed. Someone is probably working on the same thing and has been stuck in there for a long time. So once you just post this or like make it known to people, it's either somebody is going to benefit from that or is going to actually share ideas on how you can improve. So for instance, for my first research project, I didn't really know how interesting it was. I just had it at the back of my mind that this was like real world applicable and people would really use it in hospitals. And so I got the opportunity to present it at a conference. And then it was really excited to know that I'm not in this alone. There are other people working in the areas. And the kind of ideas they gave me was like, It was so interesting. Like I could just stand at the poster and talk all day long because anybody else that comes has something to say. And sometimes I would have friends where like they would just go like, I have no idea of what AI is about or what you are working in, but just take me through what you are doing. And once I'm done, like the sort of views that they have on the work, like it just makes it interesting and it makes me want to keep on working on it. And I think the speakers and some of the panelists here have mentioned the issue of mentorship. So it's really great to have a mentor, especially if you are looking into going into research. And one issue that often happens is that most people would come to me or other people, other panelists here, I'm sure you can relate, for mentorship. But then what they are interested in is not really what you work in. So as much as we are AI people, we are engineers, we are researchers, and we know what is going on in the field, it doesn't mean that we are pros at everything. So we can still guide you to the journey that you want, but it should be more streamlined and more like educative and beneficial for the mentee if you know that the person you're asking for mentorship works in the area that you're interested in. That's where they know the latest trends that is happening. They know the kind of problems that you might encounter, and they know exactly how to lead you on and guide you onto the mentorship journey. So please try to reach out to mentors that have things that in common, like things that you are working on, and it just makes it like really easier to move on. And I think finally, I would like to say that especially in research, you should collaborate a lot. So you should join reading groups. There are several groups that usually just meet once a month to like discuss a new paper in the field you are working on, discuss the gaps or like the opportunities. And that's where you get to collaborate with a lot of people. So people do have diverse interests. So even if you are collaborating with someone working on a similar thing as you, but that's also like introduces you to the other things that they are working on, which can equally be exciting as well. Yeah, I think that is mostly it. And if you really want to go deep into this field, I would suggest like pursuing advanced education, because most people out there think that maybe I don't really need a PhD to go in machine learning and all of that, which is true, but depending on your like just come in here and knowing things, working on them, like applying them in the real world and everything. So if you are really looking to do research, especially like to lead a group in research or something, just like try looking at pursuing advanced education. I feel like for academia, this is something that is really important. So just in summary, identify what you're interested in, look at what people have done, see if this is something you want to contribute to, and then you can just get started. So yeah, I think that is it for me.
Wow, thank you so much. Try to identify your interest and kind of align your interest to what is currently going on. So thank you so much, Khadija. So over to Mr. Kwame again. So what skills are essential for someone looking for a career in AI analytics and reporting?
Yeah, so I think it'll just be a build up from what Khadija was talking about, because analytics is it's really broad, right? So just like right now, there's a job called prompt engineer. Like a year ago, there was nothing like that. So prompt engineer is someone that makes sure like responses from ChatGPT is right. It also includes making sure there's fairness, the ethics around, race. Like I think there was even an example when the lady asked for a mentor that's like a good mentor, and then we saw a white person, like, those kind of things, right? So there are prompt engineers right now and people working towards that. There's generally, you can just be a data analyst. You can say you want to be a data scientist. You can say you want to be a big data developer. You can say you want to be a machine learning, like it's broad. So I think, as Khadija mentioned, the first thing that you need to do is to sit down and understand what each and every one of these single roles mean. And then you sort of envisage yourself in these roles. Which ones do you want to align with? Maybe it's none of them. Maybe because there's a buzz around AI, that's why you feel like you want to do AI. Maybe the feelings are wrong, so maybe it's somewhere else. So once you are very sure about this, that's when you start the journey. And then once you know which field you want to, or which particular field you want to get into, then you can align on what the specific skills are, the requirements are, right? So if you want to be an AI engineer, you know, definitely you can't run away from statistics, right? So some people come to you and say, I want to do AI. Does that mean I have to learn math? Like, seriously, are you asking me that at this point? If you don't want to do maths, then you shouldn't even be talking about like data. So once you ask me that question, I generally try and let you move into something else, because from the onset, you don't have an affinity for maths, like statistics, probability, even general, like let's just say Excel, like even if you are doing Excel or not. It's just, well, I think I have a video that I'll put in the chat. It's an hour's video on like data analytics, how to get started. So inside that, I have a plan. So I think it's so you decide whether it's a 3 months, you can adjust as a template. So you decide. So once you align on the 4 you want to do, you can reach out to, I mean, any of us here, we can help you out on how to structure it. So it's a 1-year plan. Then you input the skills. So if you want to be a data analyst, you definitely need to learn SQL or SQL, right? You definitely need to learn how to use one visualization tool, whether it's Power BI, whether it's Tableau, whether it's Node or whatever, right? Or Google or Looker, right? And then maybe for a data analyst, sometimes you need to work with the digital people. So maybe Google Analytics or Adobe Analytics, right? So then you need to learn Excel as well, or the, advanced formulas in Excel. You can be a data analyst and then they mention X lookup and you say you only know VLOOKUP. I mean, so you need to, so you list them down, like, you know what these are. In the next 3 months, I'm learning SQL. No distractions, no abstraction. By the end of month 3, I know how to leverage SQL for data mining, how to get, all of that. Then you can use some platforms like HackerRank. HackerRank has a lot of practice tests, right? So it gives you the scenario, then you write the SQL script or query or whatever, and then so you just practice, build up your expertise. And then you move on from SQL to maybe start learning Power BI, all of that. So generally, please start with that. So start with what you want to do, which one you want to get into. If you want to be a data scientist, then you know that, hey, you are going to be doing more of the probabilities, like the statistics. You're going to be doing a lot more modeling, So Python will be your best friend, right? If you want to do R, we're not arguing here, but who wants to know? But yeah, if you want to do R, you do that as well. But yeah, Python or R, you choose, and then you get into that. So yeah, so generally, like, it's the skills are a lot, but once you decide which field you want to get into, you can decide. And I think for the soft skills, generally, you need to have like resilience, because it's not easy. And then you need to have an attitude for learning. Like, you need to be adaptable, ready to learn, like and then communication as well, because a lot of times you need to communicate what your insights are, or what you want the business to do. So I think, that should cover it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We need to focus and be resilient so that we can be able to learn just like any other person. So back to Grace and Gary, can you share some examples of how AI can be used in education, especially for people of non-tech background?
Okay, I hope you can now hear me, right? You can confirm?
We can. Yeah.
Thank you. So maybe before I start, I've picked 2 points from Kwame. He has said about being adaptable and being aggressive. So number one thing for people with non-tech background, you're now getting into the tech space and maybe you don't have the required skills. For me, I feel like the very first thing is you have to be aggressive. You have to have the zeal. You want to learn something. You have to have the adaptable. That is, you able to learn new things day in, day out. You also need to be to have like, I don't know what to call the drive that is pushing you to work harder and harder since you maybe now learning new things. The journey is not easy, I must say, but you will just have to embrace it. Also, maybe to add on that, maybe you can embrace the personalized learning journey. That is in YouTube, you can maybe embrace the learning tracks like the YouTube. You have some like, maybe we have some sites where you can get to learn any skill that you want, where you have the adaptable learning platforms. Maybe in this case, I can give like Coursera, where you're able to learn a new skill, a new language. Another thing is like you have like the intelligent tutoring systems. In the era of generative AI, we have like the Alexis AI that is used to help students to understand the complex concepts in their own pace. Another thing you can embrace is maybe in terms of like on-demand support, you can, we have the 24 AI assistant chatbots that maybe they can help you answer any questions. Maybe, for example, maybe a student is undertaking an assignment, maybe it's late at the night, and maybe you're there asking an AI assistant for help. So what do you have to do? You just have to prompt the AI chatbot. You can maybe help me solve this assignment. Yeah. In terms of accessibility, I feel these days we have like the voice recognition and text-to-speech systems, which can enable you to answer any question despite whether you have a tech background and a tech background. You can also maybe engage in education, that is, you have interactive learning sessions, engage in boot camps, engage in summits like these ones. Yeah, and I feel, yeah, I think that's all for me today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Grace. Just like she said, we need to join online resources and also join communities, because some of us, through communities, that we're able to get in touch and start with tech and get people to mentor us. So it's very important to join communities. Thank you so much, Grace. Back to Charity. What I know, Mr. Kwame has talked about soft skills when he was talking, but I want to know from your perspective, what are some crucial soft skills that will be essential for success in the AI driven workplace, since you use AI in your day-to-day activities as well?
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Charity, we can barely hear you. I don't know if you could drop back and come back again. Or... Yes, yes. When you come, then you can take up your. So we have a last run up to go with. So the last thing I want to ask you is, what are your final key takeaways?
Khadija also did great. In fact, all important for a panel or a before I get into just talked about. Hello, okay. Hello, hear me now?
Yeah,
Hello?
we can hear you, so you can continue.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, thank
Perfect.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I wanted to touch point on what I think Kwame or Grace, Miss Khadija talked about earlier. There's something that I found when interacting with young people, even my peers in the workplace, right? A lot of people are in traditional roles. Let me put it that way. For instance, monitoring evaluation, somebody is saying maybe like something very traditional, right? And wants to switch to either tech or AI. The first thing they're going to do is that maybe, just maybe, they are going to start looking at somebody who is buzzing, like I was looking at the chat, somebody who is buzzing and looking so good. Oh, let me do this. Oh, I can do that. Let me be prompt engineer. I think that's the And that was very much pronounced when a young guy walked to me and said, Auntie Charity, I don't care. Don't tell me about beginner. I just want to do AI. There's nothing you can tell me that will change my mind, because I was told that there's money in it. So please just show me how to start. This guy had already tuned his mind that there's nothing I can say to change his mind, right? And then there's this other lady who came and told me, I want to be a cyber security person. Why? Because there's a lot of need for cyber, and I know that there's a lot of money in cyber security. So that's what I want to do. And so I developed a tech savvy guide for young people who come to me. It's for sale, but people who walk to me, I give it to them for free to just go through, right? So in that tech savvy guide, you are looking at your own personal, personality. Who are you? What are you good at? Where is your interest? Are you in AI because that's where the money is, or you can get a lot of spec? I don't know how to call it, right? There's nothing, I always tell young people, there's nothing wrong with wanting the specs with what you want to do. But there's a big problem when you don't have the responsibility attached to the spec that you are looking for. So it means that the spec comes with a lot of work. And you can ask all the panelists here, whether Ms. Khadija, Kwame, anybody, any expert will tell you that you have to put in the work. There are times I sit on my chair for literally 3 weeks, learning something just because I have a new challenge at work, right? So you coming back to come and say, oh, I'm an AI engineer, or I'm this, I'm that. It has nothing to do. It has to be you. And then you go, sometimes AI is helping us. You can do a personal quiz, right? About your weaknesses, your strengths. And some of these machine learning or, techniques will tell you that, okay, I think you are very good. For me, I did that. And it told me to go specifically into business analytics. And I built my whole business, my career, based on about 3 to 5 tests that I've done. Personally, I've already had that interest, but to hear people tell me that I'm really good at this is great. So please look at yourself. What can you do? Take these tests, sometimes. And so the lady who decided to do the test came back and said, Aunt Charity, no, I don't think cybersecurity is what I should be doing. I think I should be a UI, UX designer. I said, great, girl, that's just about it. But the other guy said, you know what, this is all I can do. But the problem with that from experience, you are going to be getting frustrated in some roles or some, tasks that are going to be given. You are going to get so frustrated. Because trust me, I've worked in teams like this where people just don't have the passion, and they are stressed out. But because the money is good, some dollars, I work in a US company, the dollar is good. So they said, this is where I will be. There's nothing that you can do to change my mind. That's where I have to be. And so you're stressed out. Your burnout is very, very high. You don't have passion. Even when we are celebrating a client success, you are at the hospital because you are sick. So many things come up with this, right? So please just before you approach or you are any of us, take your time to know, what can I do? Even in AI, necessarily with AI tools, right? And so I think I wanted to make a point, I want to stress on that point. And when it comes to soft skills, everybody have said it's adaptability. And also you need to have, somebody asked, will AI take my job? AI may not take your job, but it will. So once you hear of the mode industry, please, 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 you should be able to use it. If not, the other person who is in your role, who can use it, will take your job. I think that's the added advantage I can add to it. Somebody also said, because you're an IT person,
thank
people
you
come
so
to
much,
you.
Charity.
Oh, okay.
That's wonderful insight. So since time is not on our side, I would want each one of us to just give us a short, very short key takeaway for our esteemed audience so that we can move on to the next session. So I'll start with Khadija.
Okay, thank you very much. And I was just excited because I relate to everything that's to get to AI and all of that. It's like identify what your interest is. This is in AI, and like you always have to be able to adapt yourself to the new things. So just like you get to know the latest trends and everything that is going on. Finally, I want to employ people to get involved in research. We know there's money in industry, but there's money in research as well. Just like if you are interested in it and you are able to develop solutions that people can like really benefit from, then that is great as well. Because like out here, you can see that most of the things that people have worked on or all of these AI solutions, they are not directly applicable to people that look at us, that look like us. And I'm talking from a computer vision perspective. So we need people who are just like in this field to get into AI and everything so that we can actually make sure that whatever that is being used and being applicable to everyone is diverse and representative. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Over to Mr. Kwame. Very short.
Yeah, sure. I know, right? Okay. So maybe for me, I think it will be have a plan. So some people come to me, they want to be a data analyst, and then they just keep learning everything at once. And then after 3 months, they burn out and then they lose interest and then they are gone. So my advice would be have a plan, because in this life, you can't do anything. Like, and celebrate your successes and then have a mentor to help you be accountable. And then after that period, I'm sure you'll be more different than someone who is just, learning everything and everywhere at once. I think that was a movie some time ago. All right, sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, to the students, remember that AI guru you're seeing over us. It is high time you just have to be aggressive and do something, be different. Don't do the prompt engineering, because everybody is now into prompt engineering. So just be aggressive, be different, focus. I think the goal is focus and be aggressive. And maybe the very last thing is remember to network. I always tell people network will be your network. So you attend those tech events, be aggressive, look for that mentor, and I believe all will be well. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Adiza. I think my last words will be that a long time ago, it's not new. And, most continents have caught on, but here in Africa, it is very easy to be a leader, right? So like everybody else,
Thank you so much for joining. We have Charity. Charity, can you give us your keynote speech so that we can wrap
no, I think I was really done. Just recognize where you want to create change and then lead. Know much about the industry and take over, because it is actually your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful having all of you here. And thank you so much for our esteemed audience. You have been with us since the start. Please join us so that we can end in peace. Thank you so much. And I'll hand over to the host, Joy.
Thank you so much, everyone. And I really enjoyed the session, the panelist session. It was very insightful. And I can also see the same energy from the chat as well. I'm glad that everyone enjoyed the session. So without taking much time, would move right over to the next speaker. We are going to be having cloud architects, data engineering, and machine learning with Google. And his keynote presentation will be on cloud technologies and AI, building scalable solutions for Africa. Please, if you are ready now, Mr. Festus, you can take the floor. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for having me on your session. Very informative. I've learned so many things. The mentorship session for AI has been local to the panel session. Very great advice there. Let me just go ahead and share my screen, and then we can kick things off. Second. Invisible. Hold a second. I'm not sure what's going on. Is my screen visible? It says loading on my side. Let me just stop sharing and share again real quick because for some reason. Okay, there we go. It's loaded. I'll give it a try again. Okay, I think you can see my screen right now, right? Let me just get a thumbs up. All right, awesome. So yeah, so my name is Festus. I'm an architect, cloud architect at last 4 years in multiple industries to understand what the gaps or what strategies or what the overall business strategy is for the year, and then help them build that strategy from the technology perspective in the cloud, right? So a customer could say, hey, I want to implement a data mesh strategy, and then we help them implement them in the cloud, right? So we understand business goals in cloud. And this is more in the area of data and AI, right? I have I was also with another data AI world, right? So in the interest of time, I'll just move on, right? So on today's session, just as the host mentioned, we're going to talk about the infrastructure that really powers your cloud or your AI technology, with focus on generative AI, right? We had so many things about opportunities in prompt engineering, opportunities in organizing local data, but all that doesn't come to fruition without an infrastructure to build the application on, right? And one of the things that people are not really focusing on today is what is the infrastructure that like AI technologies are being built on, right? Everyone is more talking about, just more the front end, but there's infrastructure in the back end. There's GPUs that need to be run. You talk about the foundation model. How do you scale it? If you build an AI application, and today you have 100 people accessing it, what if you have 1,000 people? How do you scale that? How do you build infrastructure to scale your AI technology, right? So that's what we'll be talking about in this 15-minute session. So to kick it off, right? So imagine a world where your ideas come to life, right? Powered by AI, right? So we're talking about from chatbots that understand your customers to tools that design your next product, right? That world is here right now. So thanks to cloud, your ability to think of a new idea, build it, is extremely easy, right? Cloud technology is helping democratize AI, and I'm going to show you how, right? And today, we're going to explore how cloud technologies are the engine behind generative AI, making building Gen AI applications accessible, affordable, and also a game changer, right? So let's start off with one use case I feel that you may be familiar with. So this is, all right, let's go back. Okay. So to kick off with a common use case, which I actually relate to, right? So this use case is a chatbot that interacts with the retail shop online, right? And this chatbot, what is amazing about it is that it's always ready to answer your questions. It understands what you want. It has a past historical historical transactions, and so it understands what you want. It can recommend stuff to you, and it's on 24/7, right? It understands natural language. It doesn't have any human interaction, right? And the reason why this is important, because I remember today I was trying to order food. I'm actually in Ghana right now, trying to order food, and I reached out to the food company on WhatsApp, and then they responded to me like an hour later, right? That's the missed opportunity for that business, because I could have bought the food and maybe they would have had a new customer, right? But if you had a chatbot powered by Gen AI, that chatbot would take your food order, make the order, and then give you like a confirmation that your food has been ordered, right? There you have no missed opportunities, right? So what I'm going to show here is the chatbot that's doing something similar, and then I'll show you how to build that same chatbot using Google technology, right? So it's this demo is available on YouTube, so you can access it, right? So here you see the user asking a question saying, you want to buy a sweatshirt, right? And so the chatbot is thinking, and then it's going to respond with an answer. They found 50 sweatshirts in the marketplace. It asks a follow-up question. Do you want a specific brand? And the user responds just a Google one, right? And this is a chatbot that has a Google website embedded, like in the backend, right? And so now it returns possible, sweaters that the user may like using their historical transactions, right? And also here, saying we have several sweatshirts in the marketplace. Is there any of them to your taste? Just know that there's no human interaction here. This is all generative AI. If you're familiar with what Gen AI is, I'm gonna talk about it. But so here, so it says, would you like to buy the Google Wash sweatshirt? It says yes. The chatbot is thinking, and so the goal I'm trying to show here is that using the power of Gen AI and the cloud infrastructure, we've been able to build a chatbot that interacts with it. It's on your website, and you don't need to have someone live sitting there answering questions, right? These are opportunities that you can actually build right now. And I saw that opportunity today when I reached out to a food company, and I got a response an hour later after I wasn't hungry anymore. I'd already ordered something from somewhere else, right? You can actually build this with Google technology without having no knowledge of Gen AI. Everything is there in for you, right? So that was just to set the tone. I hope that was exciting enough. But so let's go to what is generative AI, right? I'm just going to be very, very high level here, right? 1 million foot above. It's just a type of AI that generates content for you, right? How that works and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to show you resources, free resources where you can go and learn more. All right. Generative AI is powered by what we call a large language model. So large language models, they're built on general knowledge. They are trained on large corpus of text and various information. Back in the days, we used to have traditional NLP models. Those models needed domain specific, right? But with large language models, they are trained on just general knowledge. They're able to actually process very complex logic. I actually saw in the chat. I'll continue. Just checking. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Okay, moving on. So I talked about Gen AI, and moving on, I'm going to talk about the foundation. So foundation models, like I gave examples of like Gemini from Google, GPT 4, 3.5, and all the other variants from OpenAI. There's also Grok. There's Anthropic. So all these are like different models that are foundation models that have general knowledge, right? But what the message here is that these models can also be task adapted, right? So you can fine tune these models to a specific need. So if you want these models, if you ask a GPT-4 a question about, like say you work at, for example, MTN, and you ask a question internally about an MTN policy, right? GPT-4 Gemini would not know answer, right? But you can actually take these models and actually task adapt them to be able to answer questions pertaining to your organization or whether your school, your research, by feeding it what you call it. Oh, it says restart the screen share. Okay. This is not going as well as I planned. Okay. Can you see my screen now? Just give me a thumbs up if my screen is visible.
It's blank for now. We can't see.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello. Okay, we can see your screen now.
Okay.
And we can
Yeah,
hear
I'm
you
not
very
sure.
audibly as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with my internet. It's just as soon as I started sharing, it's just okay. Let me just move on with the foundation model. So if you can see my screen, right? So I talked about the foundation models and how to task adapt them. Now, how do you access these models, right? So now you can actually go to Gemini dot what you call it? One second, I'm trying to get so gemini.google.com. Gemini.google.com, you can access what you call it, our large language models, and you can play around with them. These are foundation models that have general knowledge, right? But now, so imagine, like I said, I showed you a chat application, and you want to build a similar chat application, right? How do you go about it? Obviously, you need some place to host a chat application. You need some place to put your logic. You need some place to serve the model, right? The chat application is not a generic model. It is task adapted, and it's also grounded to an organization's information, right? And so you need to think about how many users are going to access the chat application, how many queries are going to be asked. And this is important because of the infrastructure that will serve the chat application. All right. So if, let's say, you have 100 users per hour, right? Asking 1,000 questions per user, right? That would be different versus like you have 5 users. The infrastructure will be different versus having like 5 users, right? That's very, very key to having a successful Gen AI application, because if your chat application or your Gen AI application is slow to respond, what happens is users will keep going away to something else. Imagine going to ChatGPT or Gemini to ask a question and it responds back in 30 seconds, right? How fast you get the response depends on the infrastructure, right? And so something I'll plug in here is for those who are looking into, okay, how do I get into Gen AI? One area where I'm seeing a big demand is the infrastructure, or how the infrastructure that serves Gen AI, right? A lot of people are familiar with the front side, but the back end, people are not really familiar with. So if you get familiar with that, you may have an upper hand more than, other people who are trying to just go into prompt engineering. Okay, so moving on. So if you want to build a chat application, right? Now, if you go into Google Cloud, we have numerous tools and services that you can use, right? And so we have access to like the foundation models. So the foundation models are all the different models you can think about: Llama, all the open source one, Llama, Anthropic's model. We don't have Grok, but think of the third-party foundation models that are all available. If you go into Google Cloud Console, you have access to them. You also have access to our Gemini models, the latest one being 1.5, right? So that's the generic Gen AI model, right? Gen AI model. Now, on top of that, let's say you want to build some application, like a chat application or like a search application, right? We have tools for that as well. So you can actually build a chat application that points to some type of foundation model. And so those are all available, right? And so the infrastructure, what Google Cloud or the cloud offers is it gives you the infrastructure to be able to build your Gen AI application, right? And the reason why cloud is important is because you don't need to think about buying expensive hardware, because if you're trying to do this by yourself without a cloud, you need to think about the hardware you're going to serve this on. The cloud infrastructure handles the heavy lifting, resources, it helps you scale your projects, right? Cloud also gives you pre-trained models. So these pre-trained, hold on, I see a text from Ms. Bauer to make sure that okay. Yeah. So yeah, cloud gives you access to pre-trained models, and so meaning that you don't have to think about, you know, how do you access all these models, right? So just moving on, this is just a very big slide of all the different tools and services infrastructure-wise in Google Cloud they can get access to, right? Now, so going back to the chat application that we built, right, that we spoke about. If you wanted to build it, right, you need to think about how do you process all the documents and stuff? Because if, let's say you're using your chat application to serve like an online resource, right? How do you process all the information on your online website? Because the chat needs to be able to access your online store and serve that to the customers, right? So how do you process all those documents and parse them and chunk them, right? How do you do embeddings? Embeddings is how large language models compare or find data, right? That's kind of how embeddings is how large language models interpret your data. Sorry. So if you have some text, large language models will convert them into like a vector text, and that's how it's able to understand. That's how computers talk to each other. So even though from your side you're seeing pictures and images and text, once it gets to the language models, it becomes an embeddings, and then that's how it's done. Like you do search and answers questions and all that stuff. So you have to think about how do you create embeddings, right? How do you index? Right? How do you index and retrieve something from your embeddings? Retrieving is also like a very large, compute intensive activity. And so you need to think about that. You need to think about like once your user types and searches for or correspond to the chat application, right? How do you, what do you call it? How do you rank the results and then bring them to the user so that you give them relevant information, right? So all these stuff you need to think about, right? The good thing is now you don't really, with cloud technology, you don't really need to think about everything, right? Now, Google Cloud or most cloud offer you a managed service to do processing, embeddings, index retrieval, ranking, and to generate that, right? All you need to do is point your LLM model to a specific website or document, and it's going to do that for you. It's going to create embeddings for you. It's going to do indexing for you, right? So I know I'm short on time. We had some technical details, issues. So I was going to show a demo of how to build this in very easy step, but I can send the link so they can share it to the audience. But the last thing I wanted to say is, cloud infrastructure for Gen AI applications is on the rise right now. A lot of my customers ask me, how do I do this in the cloud? How do I put my architecture together, right? What cloud infrastructure do I use underneath? That's a gap right now. And so if you're looking to get into Gen AI, that's one place that you can go to, right? Look at, scaling Gen AI technology, how to even manage the application once you push it to production, right? And so Google Cloud has free courses and labs that you can take if you're looking to update yourself on the infrastructure or the cloud side, or what infrastructure actually supports the application. The link is in here. I'm going to share the link with the team. And so once you sign up for these free labs and courses, you get $300 credit that you can use to play around, try different things. You can even build your own chatbot. It's super easy. You don't need any Gen AI knowledge. All you need to know is just what your data you're trying to use and what chat application you're trying to build. It's very easy. It's a gap. I saw that this morning. I reached out to a company to order food and they didn't have that. And I felt like anybody can build that and go to that company and sell it to them and say, hey, I've built a chatbot that can answer questions, that can take orders. Can I sell it to you? That's one idea that you can actually do as a student in your free time. Go learn these courses, build these applications, and sell it to the small businesses. You never know. That could be a start for you before you get to like something bigger. And so that's my call to action. Thank you for your time, and sorry for the technical issues.
Okay,
bring it, pass it on.
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Festus, for the very insightful conversation. I know because of some few technical glitches, we might have lost you at some point, but I mean, it was very rich, and I'm sure most of us now have, a call to action on generative AI and cloud technologies and how to, build scalable solutions. Thank you very much for a wonderful insight, and hopefully we will reconnect again and get to learn much more exciting things from you. Thank you very much for making time with us today. Okay, so that was Festus Asariabua. Next on our agenda, we will be welcoming Rashida Musa, founder and CEO of Rema, who will be giving us a keynote presentation on the topic Career Paths in AI, Mapping Different Career Options in AI, Research, Engineering, Product Management, and then preparing for them. So I would then hand over to Rashida. If you are ready, kindly kickstart your session now. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all well. Can you guys hear me? Can I get some thumbs up if my sound is clear?
Yeah,
Fantastic. Fantastic. It is okay. Thank you all the speakers, all the panelists, and thank you again for Youth and AI for putting this together. And I am a true advocate that the future of AI is in your hands, the youth. I'm not going to age myself too much because I'm with y'all a little bit, but I know that the future of Africa is in your hands, and this is truly the next stage of our progression as Africans into the new age. So I'm going to begin my presentation. I will share my screen. Let me there. Perfect. Can we all see my screen? Fantastic.
Yes, we can.
Great. So I'm going to move for a second. And misleading today. Every single sector has artificial intelligence embedded directly into it, right? Whether you're in healthcare, whether you're an educator, whether you're into computer science and you're building these models directly, even if you own a shop, you can use artificial intelligence, okay? So we're gonna get a little bit into the presentation. I talked about it a little bit where I said, is AI is for the youth, right? And is AI Ghana's fourth horizon? Can I get some thumbs up if you truly believe that AI is the new frontier that's going to take Ghana from point A to point Z? Let's see some thumbs up if you truly believe that. Fantastic. Amen. Amen to that. Yes. And can I see some thumbs up if you are going to be part of this revolution? Amazing. Now, I know a lot of us have already talked about AI, but I want to ask you all, I know some of you might not know what AI is.
So I'm going to ask you guys, show you guys a fun little video about AI.
On AI, you know AI, right?
Yeah, I know AI.
What is AI?
That's air conditioning technology.
Hi.
No, some. It's not that complicated.
Lang B, this is a chance for you to correct this guy.
Sammy, I'm not a repairer.
No,
What did he say?
but you're using one of.
So that's a bit funny there. And we know that artificial intelligence, let's be a little more serious about what is AI. Artificial intelligence is simply a branch of computer science that is dedicated to creating machines that can think, learn, and adapt just like humans. And that goes deep into why I said that every single sector, AI has the capability to be embedded. But we're going to talk about the the computer science. So we have machine learning, based on the information it's given. It's computer on your phone, it's security at the airports, it's even those automatic hand sensors. That is computer vision. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the history of AI here. So we have, So AI, the science of it really started in 1943 when Warren McCulloch and Walter Pitts started their groundwork for AI in their paper titled A Logical Calculus of Ideas Immanent in Nervous Activity, which outlined the theoretical model for neural networks. Then we go into 1950, where a lot of us know about the Turing's test done by Alan Turing, which completely set the tone. And we travel through several decades. It's not really until 1980 where connectionism revives neural networks. So David Rumelhart and Jeffrey Hinton and Ronald Williams rekindled interest in neural networks with connectionism and back propagation, laying the groundwork for deep learning. So there was a bit of a dark ages between when Alan Turing did the Turing test to the 1980s. But as you can see, we have grown significantly. And in 2006, we have the ImageNet dataset, which is the largest data set used for computer vision. It has about 16 or 14 million images of people just like you and I. And that is the foundational data set used to train AI models. Then we come into 2015, OpenAI is founded, and it took them 8 years to release ChatGPT, which we all know and love. So now we are in 2024, where quantum AI race intensifies with companies like Google, IBM, and Microsoft really investing heavily in developing AI solutions. So you're not late. No one is late. We are really at the beginning of a brand new roadmap for AI. So as you can see, these are our major players: IBM, NVIDIA, AliExpress, Alibaba, Meta, Google, AWS, OpenAI, Apple, and Microsoft. This is to show you the last is to show that even though the absolutely short amount of time, what is one thing that's missing in these data sets? Does anyone know? Can we get some comments in the chat? What is missing from these large data sets? Yes, thank you, Dominic. But there's specific quality data that's missing. I'll give you guys a few more minutes seconds to answer that. Well, I'll give you the answer. It's African data. African data is indiscriminately missing from these large data sets. They don't have data on Sri, Hausa, Ga. They don't have data on our cultural practices. They don't have data on us, our nuances, and how we interact with each other. And based off of that, do you think that these models are going to be effective to deploy on the African continent? No, they're not. They won't. So do you guys see an opportunity here? Amen, Dominique. We need to train our own large languaging model. Can I get a thumbs up if you can speak an indigenous African language? There we go. Hey, well, only one person can. Okay, there we go. There we go. We can all speak our indigenous languages. We can all communicate with our grandparents and our elders. I know my grandma, she can't speak English, right? So she cannot use these AI solutions. And to ensure that these AI solutions don't leave us behind, it's incredibly important that we not only use these AI tools, but we contribute to the data set. First of all, that is going to be a huge financial opportunity for whichever organization, entity can come up with a very comprehensive data set of African data. You guys are going to go far. Yes, absolutely. Caribbean history, African history, Afro-Brazilian history, right? Because even in Brazil, they speak Portuguese, but the Baianos, their Portuguese is a little bit different. Their culture is different. So it's important that these AI models respect and honor all the nuances that make us who we are. So can I get a thumbs up? Who here is going to contribute to creating data that can be used, Africa-centric data that's going to be used in these large language models? Amazing, amazing. I can't wait to use something like ChatGPT in Tree. I can't wait to use something in Dagbani or Ga or Ewe or Tree or Yoruba, okay? So, or even in the Caribbean, they have their own dialects. I mean, for instance, that is a widely spoken language and its own language. So I would be so honored to know that yes, Dr. Paul from Ghana NLP, they have done an exceptional job, but there's still so much work to be done. So we can work with them. I know Ghana NLP does work with interns, so they're a great organization to get in touch with. Perfect. Moving on. Let's go through what it takes to become a machine learning engineer. So you need your prerequisites. You need to have a strong foundation in math. So we're talking calculus, linear algebra, statistics, programming, specifically Python, okay? You're going to need an undergraduate degree in computer science with a major in data science, mathematics with a focus in machine learning. And you're going to move on to do a master's in machine learning, artificial intelligence, or data science. Sorry, in between your undergraduate and your master's, you're going to do an internship because these top game players, they have excellent internship programs. They have Google AI residency program, the AI research intern, Amazon Alexa AI intern, OpenAI scholars program, and deep summer internship. Can I get a thumbs up? Who is going to get an internship with one of these 5 organizations? Amazing, amazing, fantastic. Now, right, education is key. Education, learning never stops. So we're not just gonna get undergrads. We're not just gonna do internships. We're not just gonna get a master's. We're gonna get a PhD. Can I get a thumbs up? Who is going to get and pursue a PhD in machine learning? Amen. Amen. I wish you all the best. I can't wait. And you better invite me to your graduation, okay? Your doctorate graduation. I can't wait. It's very important that we excel in this field as young Africans, and we can only truly do that by continuing our education. Now, moving on to a computer vision specialist. A little bit different, but similar. You're going to need a prerequisite in math, same prerequisites. However, the programming is a bit different. In addition to Python, You're going to need C++, and obviously physics and imaging systems. Then you're going to do an undergraduate degree in computer science, electrical engineering, robotics, and mathematics with a focus on computer vision. Then we have excellent internship opportunities for you with Microsoft, OpenCV internship, AutoX autonomous driving internship, and Argo AI perception systems internship. Then you're going to go on and do a master's in computer vision, robotics, or artificial intelligence. Then you can move on and get your doctorate in philosophy and computer vision, or a philosophy in computer science, or a doctorate in engineering with a specialization in computer vision. Could I get a thumbs up for who is going to get a doctorate in computer vision and shape the way that computer vision recognizes Black people, recognizes African people? Because I did mention, oh wow, so many thumbs up. I'm so happy. I talked about a lot about the image and the data set. You won't be surprised to know that these data sets only have, out of 14 million images, only 2% of those images are African faces, African data. That's outrageous. Whereas we make up, what percentage of the world identifies as Black? More than 2%. Then how come we're not represented in the data, right? So we need you to get your doctorate. We need you to continue your education so that we can be fairly represented in this data. Because when we're not, these data sets incorrectly identify us. Did you know there was a test that tested Amazon Recognition, which is their computer vision AI system? And African women, dark-skinned African women like myself, were misidentified as men I think it was like 30 times more than white women. That's a huge problem. Michelle Obama, for instance, they tested it on prominent African women, Black women, and Michelle Obama was consistently misidentified. Michelle Obama, one of the most famous Black women in the world, was misidentified with an AI system. What about you and me? There are currently in the United States 200 African-American people sitting in jail because an AI computer vision system said they committed a crime when they didn't. It misidentified them. Although eventually they get out of jail and things, they don't have to go to jail. It's proven that they weren't the ones. But think of the wahala they had to go through. First, the embarrassment of getting arrested, the cost of lawyer fees, the stress of the American legal system, going to jail itself. That is the risk that we as Black people face when these AI models do not accurately represent us. So I hope you know that we are relying on you all to go through your studies and contribute to this field of science. Why is mathematics and machine learning and computer vision? Because algorithms is math, and computer vision is algorithms. It's a bunch of algorithms that are put together to perform a task. So mathematics is at the very core of AI. You can't run away from it, trust me. I still have PTSD from my first year calculus course. Literally, I still have PTSD because it was so hard and so scary, but it's incredibly necessary, okay? Now we have, last but not least, natural language processing. So the prerequisite for this program is you're going to need a strong English literature background, and you're going to need a linguistic skills. You're going to have to do programming in Python and statistics. Undergraduate, you're going to do computer science or linguistics with computational linguistics focus and cognitive science. You're going to do an internship. I mentioned it before, Ghana NLP, Google AI, Microsoft, OpenAI, Grammarly, and ARIA NLG internship. Then you're going to move on and do your master's in natural language processing, artificial intelligence or linguistics, with a focus on advanced topics like dialogue systems, machine translation, text summarization, computer vision, robotics, or artificial intelligence. And like I said, we are not just stopping there, we are continuing on. We are going to get our doctorate in philosophy and natural language processing, our doctorate in philosophy and computer science, and our doctorate in philosophy in linguistics with a specialization in computational linguistics. So can I get another thumbs up for who is getting a PhD in natural language processing and who is going to build the most robust natural language processing system with an African language as its largest data set? Amazing. So in this room, there's going to be plenty billionaires. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the project managers. In the United States and Canada, a project manager can earn around, I'm sorry, I think someone's microphone is on. I don't know if someone...
I think you should mute. Kwekutek, can you please unmute? Kwekutek. Justice, can you please unmute?
Yeah, I think
no problem.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, he has.
So project managers in AI lead cross-functional teams, ensuring efficient development through collaboration, strategic planning, and effective communication. You don't necessarily need to have a computer science degree. You need to just have a broad understanding of what the project is trying to deliver and be able to communicate between both entities, the engineers and the customer, the end product. So who here wants to earn $135,000 a year as a project manager in AI? I do.
No, okay.
That could buy me a lot of watching. That $135,000 I could buy watching every day. So we're gonna move forward to data analyst. Data is king. When it comes to AI, data is one of the most important things. Without it, there is no AI, right? So it's important that data analysis are part of every single AI project, because what they do is they work to extract meaningful insights from the data, which means they can clean up the data, make it more useful, make it more high quality. So that is a very much needed career and much needed in the space of AI, and it's only going to grow. As you can see, the starting rate for a data analyst in the AI field is $180,000 a year. Who would like to become and work in data and make $180,000 a year? I do. Fantastic. Next, AI ethicist. We talked a lot about AI not having African and Black data, Caribbean data, Afro-Brazilian data. And because a lot of these teams that develop these AI models lack AI ethicists. An AI ethicist role is essentially to oversee the development of AI to ensure the data is quality. Things like OpenAI, they take a lot of data from the internet, which you and I both know, the data on the internet is just in some way. There's a lot of there's garbage, racism, sexism, crime, violence. I mean, if you were to search today, or even not even that, if you were to search today, beautiful woman on an AI image search, the first person that's going to come up is a white woman. Not that white women are not beautiful. I know some very, very beautiful white women. But I know that we, Black African women, we are also very beautiful. Are we not? So why, when we type in beautiful woman, does the AI give us white women only? Does anyone know the answer to that?
Hello.
Yeah, so the reason why.
Madam Rashida.
Yes,
sorry,
please.
We have 2 minutes left. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we'll be fast. So it's
All right,
because there is not enough, exactly, because the AI data is not trained for Africa, and the AI data is biased, right? Because historically, they talk about Black, dark-skinned women in a negative way on the internet, right? Versus how white women are presented. Therefore, that's why these models are only, garbage in, garbage out. Not that that's garbage, but you know what I mean. I'll move quickly for y'all. So AI specialized programs and boot camps. I know university, secondary education, tertiary education, is a privilege. We live in a country where, unfortunately, not everyone has the privilege to go to university, okay? And I understand that, but I want you to know that will not stop you on your journey in AI, okay? There are several. We are in the age of the internet. Firstly, I want you guys to know I went to university for international business. I didn't go to university as a computer scientist. I went for international business. However, after university, I was able to take courses online to learn how to code, how to build AI models. I watched YouTube videos for hours to learn this stuff, okay? If you have internet to join this call, you have internet to go on YouTube and learn these things, okay? I know that life sometimes has barriers, but we should not allow that to stop us on our journey. Okay, my friends? So I believe I'll share this with the Youth and AI team so that, and all these have links to the programs. These are courses that you can take that immediately after you can get a job. Okay, I've given a very detailed list. If you want to do data science, these are the courses specifically to get you a job in data science and to become a certified data scientist. These are the courses for machine learning. And these are the courses for deep learning as well. And remember I said, AI has embedded itself into every single sector, finance, healthcare. So these are courses specific to that. So if you're a young individual who maybe studied business or finance and you work for a bank like ADB or Bank of Ghana, take these courses. You have AI in finance, you have Coursera, artificial intelligence for finance. You also have AI for healthcare. We also have AI for cybersecurity, AI for marketing. So you can take a specialized course in whatever sector you are. AI for fashion. Now, I am a huge reader. I literally, if my purse was not far away from me right now, I'll show you. I carry my e-reader everywhere. I love reading, okay? And reading is absolutely fundamental. I'll read this quote by Dr. Seuss. The more that you read, the more you will know, and the more that you learn, the more places you'll go, okay? Who, give me a thumbs up if you agree with that. Time up. Hey, I'll be fast. I'm done. These are the list of books I've read that have helped me on my AI journey. And I'll provide a link for you to get the PDF version of all these books. Read AI Superpowers first. Excellent, excellent book. These are excellent books for you to read to continue your journey. Dr. Joy Buolamwini is one of the greatest in AI ethicism, and she has some great books on that. We didn't get to talk a lot about starting your own AI venture, but everyone will get this presentation. So I encourage you to read through this. And I never really want to encourage young people to be employees. Okay, I myself am an entrepreneur. I want you to be to hold the key to your own salvation, meaning create your own thing. Stop waiting for these American organizations to give you a job. Bring something to them that they will pay you for directly, that you have full autonomy. And remember, that is Africa data centric. I've also included some AI Africa startup information that you guys can read after to be inspired. That means that just goes to show that AI is moving in this country, moving on this continent, and that there are some winners that we can look up to. Now, I'll leave you with this beautiful quote. Technology is in the hands of visionary minds. Technology in the hands of visionary minds, which is you guys, becomes the catalyst that propels nations into a new era of growth and prosperity. And remember something about us, okay? Africa. Africa is not just the cradle of mankind. They say the first man came to Africa, and then they say the first book, the first everything that had to do with intellectualism was done in Europe. How can that be true? It was here. We are also the cradle of human thought. the first thinkers, the first writers, the ancient Greek philosophers that we learned in school as the first thinkers, they were our students. They went to Africa, they went to ancient Egypt, which was Nubia, which people look like you and me. They went and were our students. Okay? We are the owners of the cradle of human thought. So remember that. And this guy here, Sheikh Anta Diop, I hope all of you will take a moment and read some of his books and be inspired to continue what our ancestors did for us. Okay, Africa, we are great people. Our youth, like I said, you guys are the key. I don't want to age myself too much because I'm with you guys, okay? But I truly believe that millennials, Gen Z, you guys are going to change the world. You're going to change Africa for the better, and you're going to use artificial intelligence to do so. I want to say, Medase, Nagode, thank you so much for your time today. I'm very appreciative to be here to share this with you all. You can find me on LinkedIn. I left my email at the beginning of the presentation as well. Please feel free to email me anything you need, and I will. I'm sure the Youth in AI will share this presentation with all the appropriate links to you all. And I pray for you all on this beautiful journey. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for such a beautiful section. It was really power-packed, and you also gave us figures. You've motivated us so much, and we are grateful to have you here today. I'm sure we've been pumped, and we all have new zeal and enthusiasm to go for what we want in the field of AI. So thank you so much for such a wonderful session. Okay, we'll move right next to what we have next because of time. So we'll be having a fireside chat, and we'll be speaking on AI for social good. We know that AI has potential to address some of the most pressing societal challenges in Africa, ranging from healthcare and agriculture to education and governance as well. And this chat will be giving us more insights into all of that. So get ready to have a wonderful session. And I would call on Staniel Tete to come on and have the floor for the chats, and we can take it from there. Please, Daniel, if you're available, you can come on now.
All right. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. It's been an amazing session so far, listening to all the speakers so far and keeping up with the theme for today, empowering the youth through AI and shaping future careers. We are continuing with this fireside chat on AI for social good. I'll be having this conversation with Richard Appel, who is a systems analyst at AUCTC. And instead of saying too much about him, I think it's best if someone introduces themselves. But before he does so, this panel will be exploring innovative AI solutions, particularly aimed at improving lives and fostering sustainable development. And we'll be discussing some responsible AI development and ensuring fairness, transparency, and accountability. We'll also look at the crucial role of policy in shaping the future of AI in Africa. So without wasting my time, welcome Richard Appel. It's a pleasure having this discussion with you, and kindly start by introducing yourself and your background and tell us how it has brought you to what you do today.
Thank you very much, Stanley, and thank you very much to the organizers of Youth in AI for the opportunity to speak to the young people and everybody that has joined us. Can you hear me? Somebody said they cannot hear me. I don't know.
Oh, I
can hear you audibly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much to everyone. I'm also very much pleased to have joined the discussion. And I think that I joined the discussion earlier, about 3 hours ago. So I listened to most of the discussion, and especially the insightful discussion by Rashida some few minutes ago. There is a saying that when much is said about you, much is expected. And so basically, my name is Richard Appel, and then I work at the African Union as a systems analyst. And I'm posted to the African Center for Counterterrorism, which is based in Algeria. So I'm talking to you from Algiers in Algeria at the moment. Well, before I joined the center, I was lecturing in Ghana. I've lectured in various universities, lecturing computer science and cybersecurity. I'm sure I've seen some of the chats, some of the participants saying that I was their lecturer. And so basically, that is what I would say. But I am a cybersecurity professional by career. And so I'm very happy to join this discussion on what we have to do about responsible AI in Africa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So get right into it. Speaking of responsible AI, we'll look at government regulation. Do you see a need for increased government regulation of AI? And which form do you think such a regulation should take? Because we've seen the emergence of AI, we've seen it being used in various industries. It's picking up in Ghana here and in Africa as well. So do you see a need for increased government regulation in AI?
Okay, I mean, it's really not even about government per se, but we are looking at what we call the AI governance, because you see, the ecosystem of the AI requires that we cannot just allow the applications to continue to do what it's supposed to do, because mind you, we are looking for applications, just like Rashida mentioned, we are looking for AI solutions that can solve many of the challenges that we are facing on the continent. And again, we are looking for AI solution that is inclusive and addresses the fundamental problems that the African continent faces. And so along the value chain of the AI, issues of governance is a cross-cutting issue. Because if people are developing AI and maximizing the AI for business purposes, if people are using AI for health, then it means that, for example, for those of us in computer science, we know that health applications are critical systems. And so if it's a critical systems, then human lives are involved. It means that there are supposed to be standards and regulations that have to be in place for such AI solutions to do what it's supposed to do. Rashida mentioned about the need for Africa-centric solutions. And I mean, that has been the advocacy of the African Union. And so those of you in the field, you might have noticed that just last month, we introduced the Continental AI Strategy, which is supposed to be the governance framework for artificial intelligence on the African continent, where each of the 55 member states of the African Union, including Ghana, are supposed to, based on that, to also develop national AI frameworks and strategies to govern AI application and practices in their individual countries. And so we have seen even Egypt, that is currently drafting the AI and is at the parliament. We have seen Morocco, that is also doing that. And you see, across the continent, we have so many AI groups, hubs, applications, individuals, companies doing all those kind of things. You see, at the country level, you might have noticed from the various charts that we have had that generative AI is actually disruptive. And it is being applied in so many fields on the continent. And so it is important that we put in place what we call the governance framework and governance system for the AI. I mean, it is not just okay that somebody comes to data, like Rashida even mentioned. Basically, you might have noticed that in all the chat, people kept talking about data, because that is also because artificial intelligence application is data-driven. The models have to be trained, and it is data that we use to train the models so that the models can perform the specific roles that we want the models to perform. We cannot just allow people just to take the data and apply the data anyhow they want it. And so these things have to be governed. And that is what we call the AI governance. So it is not just a matter of government per se. It's actually a private-public partnership. Because mind you, you will notice that a lot of these applications are private sector driven. Government is not leading the innovation. But government has a responsibility for regulation of the innovation. And so it's a collaborative effort between the private sector and the government to ensure that the AI ecosystem is well regulated and it's well managed and it's actually serving the needs of the citizens in the country. That is because, you see, I had already mentioned that the artificial intelligence is a cross-cutting issues. And I'm very happy that Rashida even mentioned that in his last statement, even about AI being used for cybersecurity, AI being used for medical data, AI being used in the field of agriculture. And we are even trying to see how we can use and explore the artificial intelligence for purposes of climate change vulnerabilities. That has become a big issue on the continent. And so we have to now look at the existing laws that we have. Because mind you, if you are talking in terms of Ghana, we have the cybersecurity law that regulates activities within the cybersecurity space. And so if AI is coming in and AI will have to be used for cybersecurity solutions, then we have to look at the laws that are applicable. Are the laws able to cater for the AI innovation that are coming on board? So these are some of the things we have to do. That is not all. We have data protection laws that is already in existence in the country. That's the Ghana's Data Protection Act. And so if we are going to take data of people, and mind you, we are talking about responsible AI. If you are going to take data about people, and the data is going to be trained, and it's based on that data that the applications are going to be developed, then we will ask ourselves, what are the ethical use of those data that are applicable? Are the laws in existence able to cater for what we have as artificial intelligence governance system? And then again, when we are able to look at the existing laws and we look at the frameworks based on the, we'll be able to identify what gaps are there for regulation. And then we will develop specific laws to govern the gaps that we have identified. For example, if we have noticed that in terms of medical data, there aren't any regulation of the AI applications that are coming and that are being applied on the medical field, then of course, regulation is required in that sector to ensure that individual lives are protected. From there, then we encourage the academia. And I think that when I've forgotten the PhD researcher was encouraging people to be in AI research, not necessarily in the industry. This is also very important because we need constant research and development and evaluation of the AI in trying to identify the specific needs of our countries or of our continent, available policy frameworks, including the necessary assessment tools that are available. And so if we look at the AI governance system, basically this is what we are talking about. Look at the laws, we look at the regulatory gaps, we look at the research, we look at the policy frameworks, and then we look at the AI assessment tools that can help us to have a governance framework for governance of AI within the continent and then also at the member state level. And like I mentioned, this is a cross-cutting issue, and it has to be done in collaboration with the private sector, because actually they have the expertise, like yourself, like any other young person that is in the business, like the Youth for AI group that have decided to come together to propel the identities of AI and leverage AI for societal solutions. These are the people the government should look at, trying to leverage their skills to ensure that their potentials and the skills that they possess in AI are being used and governance is appropriately being governed to ensure that the solutions that they provide for our countries and our continent are tailored to our needs and the risk and safety issues that come with it are reduced. And so basically the form that it has to take is what I have tried to mention.
Yeah, great, thank you. And I do agree with most of what you said. And also there's a call to action for the government to involve the various stakeholders at various levels to get this going. I think they can fall on the experience from Egypt that is a bit ahead of us in doing that as well, to be able to then follow a similar path or then learn from what they have done so far. So I believe a lot of AI has become very topical in recent times. The emergence has been slow but steady, and it's gone a bit rapid in recent times, and we've seen a lot of youth being curious about it. And I believe most of us are here because we are interested in AI and we want to get involved in that field. But what role do you see the youth playing in shaping the future of AI policy landscape? because it's something that is still ongoing. So how do you see the youth playing a major role in this AI policy landscape, particularly in Africa?
Actually, from where I sit, especially at the level of the African Union, I would say that the continent on its own is for the young people. I mean, for a very long time, we have been talking about the demographic dividends of the continent. And so in recent times, if you have followed most of the activities of the AU, you realize that from peace and security, from technology and innovation, from conflict prevention, from issues of gender, I mean, come to think about it, even from the African Continental Free Trade Area, just last year, the African Union heads of state, which are the presidents of the various African governments, decided to adopt a policy, which they call the Youth in After, which means that those policies are geared towards encouraging young people to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area to be able to benefit from it. Look, we have a continent whose population, about 65% of the population, are below the age of 35 years. It means that there was nothing the continent can do without the young people. And so this is the good value of the continent. And normally we call it the demographic dividends of the African continent. It lies on the young people. And so there was virtually nothing any government can do. I have consistently said that if there was a government that fails actually to invest in its young people, that particular government will be forced to use the same resources in trying to prevent insurgency, trying to create peace and all that. Because at the end of the day, the vulnerabilities of our country depends on the young people. They have the energy, they have the skills, they have the expertise. And again, you would notice that talent on their continent is globally distributed. There was talent everywhere. Ghanaian youth are very innovative. Nigerian youth are very innovative. Kenyan youth are very innovative. At the end of the day, what is not there is opportunities. And so we are calling for an increased opportunity for young people, and this is policy driven. And so you realize that, like the strategy that I talked to you about, we did recognize the potential of young people to say that at the end of the day, the continent's progress, the continent's success, it lies on them. In fact, in the next 10 or so years, Africa will be the one to provide workforce to other people, including Europe, because the entire world is going to rely on the African youth, because 50% of the workforce is going to be African youth, because we are the youngest continent among all other continents. If you go to Europe, Europe is aging continent. And so the population is not able to work again. So some of these technologies that are coming, they are not going to have the people to think for them. And so you realize that these days, there are even deliberate policy of Europeans trying to come to the continent to attract the best talent that we have. All of them are doing that. The EU is doing that. The UK is doing that. The US is doing that. Almost everybody is doing that, just so they could get the most talented young people on this continent and then to go. But I have consistently also mentioned that, and I think that Rashida even mentioned that in his presentation about the need for us as Africans to ensure that we are well represented in some of these things. And so at the continental level, we have put in place enough policy. I mean, even at the African Union, we have a specific directorate in charge of youth capacity building. We have appointed an African youth envoy who tries to ensure that young people are represented. Of course, there are challenges. And the challenges is that oftentimes we have people who the next 10 or 20 years who will not be present, taking decisions for the young people. There was a problem, because we need young people to be able to make decisions for themselves, how they want their countries or how they want their continent to look like in the next 50 years. Because in the next 50 years, they are going to live on the continent. And so it might not be right that we have people who the next 20 years are taking decisions what they think will be best for us. I mean, we have a responsibility to decide for ourselves how we want ourselves to be governed. And so at a continental level, I can say that yes, numerous policies are being projected. Numerous skills development programs are being put in place. from STEM to TVET and all areas that require harnessing the skills of young people. I mean, it is also important that at the national level, even if the policies are not deliberate in trying to harness the potentials of young people, we as young people, sometimes we don't have to wait for them to call us onto the table. We have to go ourselves to the table. And I think we can do so many. For example, Youth AI decides the next year, if this conference have to be held, it can even be held in a physical mode. And they should be able to push for responsible ministries, including the Ministry of Youth and Sport, the Ministry of Communication, Science and Technology, to come on board to support. And for them to allow the youth in AI to lead these kind of continent where leadership do not take responsibility in trying to shape the future of young people. Then I personally believe that young people have a responsibility to shape the future they want. And if we become so aggressive to the extent that we are pushing, I don't think that policymakers will have any. Our challenges are enormous. And so along the line, that require that the talent are not being deliberate. But I do agree that countries like Ghana, if we are deliberate about it, we can train about 1,000 data scientists who will be sitting in Ghana and be working for companies outside Ghana. And all these young people can be taxed and they can generate enough resources for the country. And these young people will not depend on just being teachers or being nurses or being the security forces, because ultimately, the responsibility to create a job does not lie with the government. The responsibility to create job for the teeming young people in the country lies with the private sector. I mean, the responsibility of the government is to ensure that we have the enabling environment for businesses to grow. And I believe that young people are innovative enough. I have followed Ms. Bao for a very long time. And I started following him and he's done quite a number of contracts for me. And even with this conference, I've been impressed. The kind of emails they send, the kind of follow-up they do, the kind of visuals they are putting up there, how respectful they have been with the timing, and how respectful they send the email. You could see that, I mean, given the opportunity, they can do much more. And so if we have ministries that are supposed to drive some of these things, and they are not showing the enough competencies to do this, I believe that the young people have the opportunity to do this. And it is also important for us to know that, and sometimes it's so easier for maybe the older generation to think that the young people are in competition. No, young people are not in competition. I mean, we are only asking for co-leadership. And that is the point that we are in now. And so for me, I would say that the policy do exist, sometimes even at the government level, because we have national youth policy. And the purpose of the national youth policy is to also harness the potentials of young people. Sometimes, as I mentioned, implementation is where the problem is. And so whilst we identify some of these policies as young people, let's come in and see how best we can also drive some of these policies. And I believe that if you put in some of these zeal, we will be able to be brought onto the table and then harness the opportunities that are there for us in all aspects of IT, being it computer science, software engineering, web programming, or artificial intelligence.
Okay, Richard, it's been a stimulating discussion, and there's a lot of key takeaways from this as well. So I do hope you on board are taking notes as well. But before you go, do you have any final piece of advice for the young people on the call today?
I think that various speakers have mentioned quite a lot. Sometimes like the buzz about it. I mean, a lot of times when people see about maybe sometimes from us, those in the field also, sometimes we tend to make a lot of noise about certain technology and all that. But basically, I keep telling people, I mean, not everybody can work as artificial intelligence engineer. Not everybody can work as machine learning engineer. But even if people want to work on that field, normally what I tell people is that, you see, every field, there is work for everybody. You don't necessarily have to be a computer programmer to be able to work in the field of AI. You don't necessarily have to be a computer scientist to be able to work in the field of AI. You can be maybe an accountant and you find yourself working in the field of AI, because we have so many aspects of the AI. We have those programming, we have the user interface designers. We actually also have marketers, because we need people to market the AI applications. And then we have policy makers. We have lawyers that are supposed to be in the field of AI for ethics. We can have data protection officers also in the field of AI. And so really, you have to assess your skills and the talent and what you can do. Even if it's the field of cybersecurity that you have to be, you really have to assess your competences and what you think that you can do more. Look at your career objectives, look at your career goal, and see if this is something that you really have to do. And if it is something that you really have to do, then you have to really build the skills. Because even in my field of cybersecurity, there are so many jobs that are unfulfilled. And the problem is that we are not having people who have the requisite skills. Sometimes it's not just about going for the degree. I think that we have to begin to go for the skills. And I believe when you have the skills, because I normally tell people that the job actually there, but it is the boys that are not there. And when I say the job there and the boys are not there, it means that we have the job, but we are not having the people with the requisite skills that have to take over the job. And so skills is very important. I don't mind. I attended KNOST and I graduated with second class upper. I mean, my focus was not to necessarily get first class. Getting first class is good. That is if it comes to the commensurate skills. You can be a third class person and you have the skills. Because the IT skills, we are not looking at those with the first class. We are looking at those with the skills. It's about what you can do with your degree. But unfortunately, our system is such that we do focus sometimes more on the degree without necessarily getting the aspect. And of course, the university is not there to provide you all the skills that you need. For the mere fact that you have spent about 4 hours being in this meeting means that you are really serious about getting something done for yourself. And so my advice would be that it's about the skills acquisition. It is about the skills, and the skills. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an amazing time with Richard Appel from the African Union Counterterrorism Unit. We've been discussing AI for social good. We are happy to continue the conversation further, but if you took nothing away from this panel, remember that you are the youth, you have the talent, you have the skills, you have the energy, so you are in the right position to push and make headway within any career you see for yourself. Thank you so much, Richard. It's been an amazing time with you, and thank you for your time spending with us here today.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Staniel and Mr. Richard. Thank you so much. We've learned a lot from this session. I personally, and I believe everyone who has attended and have been here for this session have also learned a lot. There's so much to take home and ponder on. Due to time constraints, we'll move right next to the next item on our list. And we're going to now from ICP for this presentation will be George Appiah, who is the country. If you are available right now, I would leave the floor to you. Thank you. Please, is George available? Whilst we are waiting for George, you can leave your take-home quotes and the lessons you've learned from the various sessions on the chat box.
and also give a thumbs up whilst we are waiting for George. All right. Miss Pa, please, you can come in.
Okay, thank you very much, Joy, for the warm introduction. And I would really want to say a very big thank you to all the speakers that showed up today and all those that we unfortunately missed. All the the resourcefulness of each of every speaker is just mind-blowing. And I'm really, really glad and very impressed with how they give out with their all. And hopefully myself and yourself, we all were able to learn one or two things from all that they shared. Also, a very special and big thank you to our partners for today. This amazing event wouldn't have been possible without them. And I want to say a very, very big thank you and a very, very big, much appreciative notice.
I'll continue. Okay. I want to say I'm excited to be giving this presentation today. I'm George Appiah, the country lead for ICP Ghana. ICP means Internet Computer Protocol. Internet Computer Protocol. At ICP, we have provision that most of the world software will be replicated by smart contracts. So what we are doing right now is to make smart contracts, to design smart contracts as powerful as traditional software, so that everything that runs on a traditional software can be run as smart contract as well. So that's what we are doing at ICP right now. And the time is almost gone, so I'm going to be a bit fast. So let me setting the stage. Now we are in the new era of technology. We know that we are in the new era of technology, and AI and Web3 are rapidly changing the way we work. These technologies are creating new job opportunities and demanding new skill sets. And in Ghana, empowering youth with AI and Web3 knowledge is crucial for future success. So at ICP Ghana or Internal Computer Protocol, we are putting upon ourselves to build a scalable foundation for AI and Web3 applications. So, since I'm talking about AI and then Web3, I'm going to kind of explain Web3 a bit, because I know some people are here who don't kind of understand what Web3 is. And I know for AI, there has been a lot of talks about AI, what they are, what they is, and it was really exciting. So I'm going to focus on Web3 now. And as time goes on, I'll chip in some bit of AI here. So when I talk about Web3, Web3 is a decentralized internet built on Web3 is a decentralized internet built on blockchain technology. So the Web3 platform, or because it's built on blockchain, is distributed across different computers, and there's no one point of contact or one point of source for destroying it or something like that. So if you are building in the Web3 on blockchain space, it's not like AWS or Google Cloud where your data is hosted as a centralized place. In Web3, your data is distributed across different computers. So there's like a tamper-proof for it where no one can kind of destroy a data or change a data unless it is changed on several computers who have the same data, which is impossible. So, which is impossible. Let me move on. So right now we know AI is whereby machines are trained to do what human beings can do, okay? And then we know that Web3 is a technology that is built on the blockchain, which is tamper-proof. So right now we have to look at the convergence between Web3 and AI and what we can do to improve or enhance AI development. So if we are trying to kind of improve AI development with Web3, we are going to have something like decentralized data management, enhance security and privacy, and then democratization of AI development. And we are going to go into details from this slide. And we have some innovative use cases on AI being built on Web3. We can have something like the centralized AI application. If you go to ICP right now, we have a lot of AI applications that are being built as smart contracts that are being built on a blockchain. So right now, I want to talk about the role of internal computer, ICP, as AI-driven platform. So if you are looking at the role we are playing right now, if you are trying to lead or champion something we call decentralized AI, decentralized AI. We know you have AI, which is kind of centralized, being built by ChatGPT, some are being built by Google, some are being built by AWS, but we have to have something called decentralized AI. When I say decentralized AI, I mean it's AI training and inferences a smart contract on chain. When I say it's a smart contract on chain, I mean AI, you are building the model on a blockchain, a smart contract. Someone will say, why are we building AI on as a smart contract? One, you have to have something called model integrity, and then data confidentiality. When you say model integrity, you know, when you are using AI, you don't really know whether the model you are using is correct, there is transparency or something, but AI that are being built on blockchain can build that model integrity and data confidentiality. Because when you are doing this model, you know you can have your medical record, you can have some secret being used by AI to train the model. But when you are built on the blockchain or as a smart contract, this one can be prevented from leaking to the models. So still on the role of internal computer as a platform for building AI. Right now what we are doing is that in decentralized AI, you have built platform whereby you can learn about everything concerning decentralized AI. If you go to Google right now and you search for internet computer protocol and then you add AI, you are going to get a platform whereby you can learn about decentralized AI and how you can build on internet computer. Internet computer protocol has also has a grant, AI grant. This one is for people, individuals or groups that are building between the intersection of Web3. This one, we have a 5 million grant where individuals can get up to $100,000 to build a project or a product between the intersection of AI and Web3. We also have a correct doc where you can look at to build platform concerning decentralized AI. We also have videos about decentralized AI. We have a chat AI where you can ask everything about AI or decentralized AI or building decentralized models as smart contracts. So, and we also have empowering Ghanaian youth. So ICP Ghana, or as the country lead for ICP, Internet Computer Protocol has kind of empowered me to also empower the youth we have in Ghana. So this one like this, I was able to kind of partner with youth in AI to kind of promote this AI thing we have in Ghana right now. We are also giving funding to individual team building between intersection of AI and Web3 in Ghana. Right now, this team that you see here is all AI. They are in KUST. They were able to secure $5,000 from ICP to ICP Ghana. And we are looking for more teams like this. So if you are here and you are listening to this presentation and you are building between AI, Web3, blockchain, please speak to me after here and I will be able to kind of get to the ground to kind of push forward all the ideas you have built, even if it's not between AI, blockchain, Web3, but it's about blockchain or Web3. If you get in touch with me, I'll be able to see if your product kind of suit our direction and where we are going, and we'll be able to kind of get to the funding we want, because we are kind of here to support the youth in Ghana and also get them the right direction and also help them to kind of build all the product they want to build. Because what we have seen is that getting funding to do a lot of stuff in Africa is kind of hard. So at ICP Ghana, our main focus is kind of, if we are doing something good, we are ready to kind of support you with the right resources, right funding for you to build whatever you are building. So this is the last slide for my presentation. And if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on email at icpghana@gmail.com, LinkedIn, Georgia Pia, Twitter @IamJojo. So if you want to connect with me right from here, these are the contacts you can use to kind of connect with me. I will also be checking the chat for any questions. So in case you have any question about decentralized AI, how you can build an ICP, the technology we have, I can also put you through that and I will answer all the questions. So is there, I want to see if the host is around or something that he can get me. Maybe there are some questions out there. There are some questions out there about our funding and the resources we have and how we are supporting the youth in Ghana.
Yeah, George, we will be sharing all that information with the attendees via email, especially with regards to the funding requirements and all the processes needed after the session. Yeah. So they will be able to get access to all the required information. All right.
Okay.
So thank you very much for your presentation. I mean, Web3 ecosystem, blockchain, and AI are kind of triplets that work together. So we really appreciate the things that you are also doing, and hopefully the attendees here today will be able to also benefit from some of the offerings from your company as well. Yeah, thank you very much for your time. And this session has been amazing. This event has been amazing. And we'll be following up with each and every attendee with the call to action shared by our speakers today. So thank you very much, everyone. It has been amazing. And as shared earlier, we will be reconnecting with you all. So enjoy the rest of your day. And really thank you for the time, all your time, for staying with us up till now. We went very much over. Yeah.